Okay. All right. We'll call the meeting of the Hall County Board of Commissioners special budget meeting to order and ask Marla to call the roll.
Karen Brethauer. Here. Butch Hurst. Here. Pam Lancaster.
Present.
Ron Peterson.
Here.
Gary Quan. Here. Jane Richardson, not present at this time. Scott Sorensen, not present.
Notice of the open meeting law. This is a public meeting subject to the open meeting laws of the state of Nebraska. The requirements for an open meeting are posted on the door on my left, and notices are on the front table for your information. Request to reserve time. If anyone in the audience has a request to reserve time on a specific agenda item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, we have verified the affidavit of publication. We also, if the commissioners will not be able to take action on non-agenda items. If there anybody in the audience that would like to address the board under public participation, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, we will move on to the agenda.
Okay, so, sorry, wait. Do you guys have to review and approve the meeting minutes?
I didn't get them all.
Okay, okay.
There's 20
No,
pages.
that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't skipping something.
Do we have the deductions?
Yeah, it's on, she's got that.
Yeah, the total changes are on page 2. We can read through those first.
Yeah.
Okay. Total changes that have been made. So changes to revenue, inmate welfare, body cameras grant, that's 40,000 in. You'll note as we move down the page that there's gonna be a 40,000 out, because a grant is an in and an out, and so that's going to be a wash, but we did do that. We did leave a note there, just so everyone's aware, that we did fix the interfund transfer as requested, for the inheritance and general revenues fund by the $250,000 there. And then there was also some movement that impacted the building and land reserve and the projects there. Those, we made the note that we made those fixes, but we have, the levy impact isn't there since it's moving in and out of inheritance. And so we wanted to leave the note so you know that we did it, but there isn't a levy impact. And so that's why there's a 0 off to the right. Cuts by official, road salary, that was the typo that they had in theirs for $427,500. And then inmate welfare, we reduced the transfer to general, so it's a negative impact on the levy of the $10,000. Cuts by board, sheriff health insurance, we cut by $16,200. Justice budget in total, we cut by $112,000. Again, I just talked about some of those building and land transfers. Attorney health insurance cut of $20,000. Public defender health insurance of $48,000. Public defender line 2-2417, that was for like the murders and complex trial cases. That was the $50,000 that was duplicated, so we took out the 50 out of public defender. Jail health insurance, we cut by $143,345. And then for the road department, there was the trailer cut for $75,000. We reduced their cash reserves by the $250,000 to bring it back to last year's dollar amount. And then health insurance cut of $65,000. Additions by officials, GIS salary had an adjustment of $7,032.10. Regional planning had an addition of $2,204. And then inmate welfare, that's the $40,000 that offsets the $40,000 at the top. And then additions by board, there was an adjustment to the board salary for the 50-cent adjustment for $1,440.91. So total positive impacts to the levy is $1,186,367.99. So we are over the initial goal of the $850. As a reminder, the $850 was kind of a goal set with the allowable growth calculation in mind. But as you all know, we have conflicting calculations and future planning to do, and I'm sure that will be a big part of the discussion at the kind of end of today's meeting. And regardless of what we decide today, I'm sure everybody will want a revisit, and we have a revisit scheduled for after the valuations are finalized in August to make sure whatever we decide today kind of stands after we get final valuations.
Did the sheriff get a hold of you on?
Any kind of questions?
Do we
Oh,
have it, do we have the impact on the levy based on what we've done here?
So I believe that's page 1 of your book. Sorry, kind of going backwards. But based on,
I don't have it in my book. That's-
oh, sorry, I have it in mine. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, Kim will have it pulled up here. I just have it in mine then. So based on, again, with the conservative valuation of the 8.4 million, those are the actual property tax numbers needed to balance the budget presently. Again, we've typed in the third-party entities, their valuations will get updated, assumedly they'll go up, so their budget, or their levy impact will shrink too. But as of now, the levy's pretty consistent, down a little bit from prior years, so just in case anyone's having trouble reading that, prior year, levy per $100,000 evaluation was $400.03. As of right now, we're at $398.50. And again, my guess is as we work through some changes that I'm sure will be made at the end of today's meeting, we can pull this up and keep updating it as, as we go. We can do that. Questions, thoughts, concerns of the board?
So just for a reminder to the board, how does that affect us going forward, meaning if we lower our levy?
Isn't that our,
So based on the cuts where you are now, and I can again pull up those calculations and rough out the math really quick, but keep in mind that even where we started, you were already losing a little bit of authority. I think it was about $100,000, but I could pull that up. So the fact that you've cut 1.1, almost 1.2 million means you'd be losing approximately 1.3 million in authority. The 100 you were already losing plus this new 1.2. And so that is something the board needs to give serious consideration. Marla did send me the salary study, or not the actual salary study, but the results of what the county did from the last salary study a decade ago. And from what I saw, and keep in mind, I don't have the context necessarily of when the 2 salary studies ago were done, how big of a gap there was since the last adjustment. We know we have a 10-year gap right now. But those increases, many departments had adjustments in excess of 7,000 or 7% to the salaries. There were several departments who had to have 2 or 3 years of 7+% adjustments to get caught up. And so that is something that just needs to be given some thought and consideration, because if this authority is lost, it's lost. It's not like the old calculation where you could retain it, forever. Once we get past that 5% calculation, you can't get it back.
didn't we have 1.4 tucked away in authority? And then we would
Right.
lose how much of that? I can't remember the numbers off my
Here,
head.
I'm pulling up that, let me just grab my first day binder. I have multiple binders on you guys, and that's my own doing, so.
I can't
Here we
remember
go.
what you showed us that one day.
Yep, so, first day, it is the calculation is page 6.
6 on the first day.
Yeah, for day 1, page 6.
Okay, got it.
So you'll see, and again, this was based on the first day's calc, so you'll see where you start with last year's accumulated authority, so what you've saved in the past. So that was the 1.438 number on line 1. And then based on the day 1 numbers, so before any cuts, we were adding $137,650.29 to the unused authority, which gave us a new authority carryover of the 1.575 million there on line 4. But then new to the form this year. So keep in mind last year the form wasn't like this because you didn't have a previous carry forward. So there really wasn't, this is the first year that the limit is really part of the calc. So then they do the calc on lines 5 and 6. You're basically taking your prior year authority from the previous page calc from the previous year, the 29 million. They take it times 5% and say, hey, the maximum amount you can carry over is the $1,464,620.15. That number is not going to change no matter what we do. That line 6 will not change.
Okay, so we wouldn't lose that, like you said, 100 and some,
Well, see, so that's where you are, because so then line 7, you either get to keep the smaller number of line 6 or line
Okay.
4.
okay,
So the difference between 6 and 4 is what you're losing. So right there, it's about $110,000.
right, okay.
That's what you're giving up,
So
basically.
the $1.4 million will still be applicable no matter what we set the levy at.
Correct, because that part of the limit is never going, you cannot carry over more than the 1.464.
Yeah,
So you either lose any authority that you give up above that.
But,
Anything that would be above the 1.464, you would lose.
the
Yes.
line 5 will change, will it not?
No, because it's based on the prior year
Oh, it's the
calculation.
prior
prior
year.
year.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So,
So no matter what we do with the levy, that we're still gonna be able to carry the 1.64?
You can always carry the 1.464, yes.
Yeah, that bottom number 7.
Yes.
So what would cause it to change?
Nothing is gonna change, as far as line 5 and 6, nothing's gonna change. So like, no matter what, you cannot carry over more than the 1.464.
Yeah.
But-
So as a-
But based on what we've got now, what is the actual carryover forward then?
It would be the 1575 something, but.
No.
Plus the 1.186.
Yeah.
You've made cuts of 1186. So right now, you have an unused property tax request authority of approximately $2.76 million. And you can only carry 1.464. You're giving up 1.297, $1.3 million that you can't get back. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I'm not sure that
Yeah,
everyone's
because
hearing me the
it's
same way.
It's our growth. It's the growth, and we're not using all the growth.
Yeah, just because of how growth, yeah, there's definitely some you're losing, and some of it is definitely attributable to growth. I am being careful with that word, because I know it means different things to different people and different departments. But yeah, there is dollars there that would be not usable this year or going forward.
So is there anything we can do to raise from the 1.464 to the 1.575?
No.
No.
That 1.464 cannot be changed because it's based on a prior year calculation.
Prior year on 5.
But we don't have to make the cuts that we've made. We can
Right.
go back and rethink some of the cuts.
Yes, we
and see if there are
can,
things that need to be, that
Need to be
really would be
funded.
valuable to the county. And the reason that would be important is because we won't have that money when it's going towards salaries.
right.
That's why that's important. I mean, that's a very simplistic way to put it, but if we need, like for instance, I was pretty concerned about some of our spending at roads, and we cut some things, maybe we should go back and think about that, because we won't have the option, we won't have the money
And I
to do
can,
those things going forward if we're spending it on salaries. And I would say the same about other departments as well. Let's go back and see what it is that we cut
the only
and
thing
how
we-
crucial it is to our well-being, because that's, I mean, we'll never walk this way, like she's saying. I mean,
Yeah.
Kayla's pretty calm about this, I'm not. I mean,
Well,
this
at
is,
roads, the only thing we took was the trailer and then some insurance from the employees because they
Well,
weren't fully staffed.
but maybe
And
the
then-
trailer could go back. I mean, I don't know how much they
And
need
then
it.
we took the 250 out of the,
Yeah.
so that for motor grader down the road.
yeah, you basically, I mean, the choices are basically leave the cuts in the calc as is, lose authority going forward. If you don't want to lose authority going forward, there's a couple ways to not achieve that. And we have some other things to talk about today, but, increasing expenses is one way to do it. Increasing, like, a reserve is another way to do it, so you'd have that cash saved for a future year. There's a couple different ways you can achieve that if you don't want to lose authority, which, ultimately, based on what I know about the salary study and what happened last time, that'd be my recommendation. I just am worried that if you give up authority and if you do get a salary study, that you have to then work your way towards, I don't want you to not have authority or dollars in the future to do that.
Well, and if we go back and think about cash reserve, that's another, I mean, I know people have all kinds of pet names for that, but it's crucial in as much as if we could do that, if this board would agree to do that, that's where the dollars would be for salary increases. And we sit around this table and talk about how we want our people to have the best and blah, 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 do everything we can for them, but then we refuse to fund it. So it's one way or the other. And one of the things that Ron has kind of drummed home, which I agree with, I hadn't thought about it until he brought it up a couple of times, to tell you the truth, that the minimum wage has made a huge, huge impact. And I think that we're going to see a minimum, I mean, it concerns me about what we'll see as an increase for our people based on, based on that minimum wage. And so we heard from one department, and I don't know that it was, I think our study showed a little bit different impact than what they brought to us, but, I mean, in ours were brief, it's a brief calculation, brief study, not anything in depth, like a study, like a real salary study would be. But anyway, I just want people aware and be thinking about this, because, it's fine to make headlines about how conservative we are, but if we don't have money to pay our people, that's really, really, that worries me. And
Where
the
do we
salary study is
sit with the
critical.
pink card?
So if you kept the cuts, I haven't reviewed the calc from MIPS again, but based off just logic, based on the cuts you've made, you'd be under the pink card right now. If we put the cuts back, you're going to be over. And again, I don't.
Depends on how many of the cuts we put back.
Right.
True, yes, but if you stay under the pink card, you will lose authority, a significant amount of authority.
You mean like what you're telling us, because you said that we can't lose the 1,464,820.
Right,
Um,
but you'd lose like the 1,000,003 above and beyond the 1,464.
And what did our salary, well, we did 3%, I think.
Yeah,
and
what did
steps.
that cost
What did
us?
that cost us
It
this
was a
year?
little over $1 million, if I
Yeah.
remember right.
Yeah.
Well, here, just here. So what I have in front of me, and maybe Kim can pull this up, but like there's a summary page that we print with the budget, that kind of shows like the breakout. It doesn't have it by fund or anything. It's just the total budget, but it has like the total personal services, the total operating expenses, the total supplies and materials across the whole county. So for example, and this is hard because I don't have budget to budget, but like I can see that this year's budgeted personal services, and this is after all the adjustments we've made thus far. So all the health insurance cuts you've made are reflected in this. The budget is $33,690,103.26. And I just did some quick little calculations, and I can do however many you want me to do right now. But for example, if there was a 5% increase on that for next year, the impact of that is $1,684,505.16. So
That's more than we have coming.
more than we're even talking about saving, because we're talking about recapturing $1.3 million.
And the other thing that it doesn't take into account, our health insurance increases the last 3 years have been pretty minimal. If we would happen to have a
Right.
bad year,
Right.
we could, let's say we had a 6 or 8% increase in health insurance costs,
Right.
which is not unfathomable.
And I hope that the work we've done on the health insurance, I think that committee's doing a great job in trying to be really careful about balancing, minimal increases, but also not setting the county back, which kind of inevitably happened, 10, 15 years ago, where there was a decrease in some zeros that led to 15% increases. And so I think the current committee, I sit in those meetings, is doing a great job of trying to balance that and keeping increases low without putting in jeopardy large increases in the future. But yeah, if that would happen, that would, add to this.
Or if the board decides to move forward with a growth rate, do some additional things.
Oh, you're right, thank you. Which is, in my estimation, critical. We need a broker.
Well, and I think we need to probably go to NACO and just see what their self-funded insurance plans that they have now. They've just started them, see
I'd be
what
good
the
with
prices
that.
are, and just see what, we could, I know we've had really good luck with Mid-America, now it's changed, but I wonder where we would be if we were with NACO's self-funding.
I'm all for it. All for it.
Maybe I'll get a hold of them at the NACO convention in December, and I wonder how hard would it be to get our lasers?
Oh,
Easy?
they know how to do that stuff.
Okay.
Marla's the one who ends up getting the brunt of that.
I
But
think-
anyway, but I just wanted to remind people, because, as we talk through this, it becomes pretty obvious that the best place to put this would be in cash reserve. It really does. The thing about putting it in, I mean, we can look at all the other budgets, like I said originally, but the thing about putting it in a budget, if that isn't spent, we have a heck of a time. That department gets very, very possessive of their money, and I don't blame them, because we're so tight with everybody. But, anyway,
I think
That's
this is
my-
a discussion that will be handled as we talk later, but I think we ought to move on to
Yep.
the appointments that we have today. I did have a conversation with Judge Butler, and I told him I didn't think it was necessary for them to be here because it isn't really much of any change that we are going to do there.
So just to
Fine.
remind you, we're on day 3. Your original day 3, I moved that to behind day 4. So day 3 is where you want to go because that's going to have your most current, most updated information. So
Okay?
okay. We're on day 3.
so we're on day 3.
Thank you.
So on day 3, basically, the only changes for the,
And insurance.
is,
We're going to be on page 3.
right. And basically, we've got salary increases, and other than that, there's actually a reduction in operating expenses. And I think they then moved some of that down into the supply area.
Yeah, they just kind of readjusted.
Yeah.
Now, are we going to take the 20,000 out of equipment improvement, since we'll put that into the courthouse?
I think for now, you could leave it and just kind of see how things go.
Okay.
It's definitely not,
Yeah, I think the thought from the committee, from my memory, was to not kind of step out of the normal process of that and take money before the 5th year, but assuming that the courthouse project covers their needs, that most of that money would over time phase its way out.
And we don't know, I mean, some of the stuff was started before. you
Yeah,
know, they-
before the- yeah, the
so-
courthouse project,
So
yeah.
we're really not sure.
Because this is in-
When it says,
Is this the 5th year on that 20,000?
no.
No, next year will be?
There's I don't know. If
I can find that out for you, but I usually just highlight what's in the 5th year.
Which is
Okay.
that 5, to be clear, it's the $5 written next
Oh,
to
okay,
the year.
okay.
Well,
I
and-
can see why that's confusing.
Well, and as an example, one of the things, after the project is over, we won't be able to use all this money. You could have, I know that there has been some discussion about the possibility of a 3rd district judge being appointed to Hall County, who currently serves both Hall and Buffalo County, and is in, so in terms of office stuff for that position, that may be something that may be 3 or 4 years down the road.
Which again, if I would say if you guys get to the end of the project fund and there ends up being, any room in that budget, I'd probably purchase furniture for an extra office, because it wouldn't hurt to have it, but.
Yeah.
But it also says equipment and furniture, so it could be a
Yeah.
copier.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yes, furniture.
no, which is fine.
Okay, are we ready to move on to drug court? Good morning.
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 Page 5.
Just a way to reintroduce myself in case you don't remember. My name is Susan Huber, and I'm the coordinator for the Central Nebraska Drug Court. I know that we have had our budget submitted for your review. Not a lot of changes this year. The biggest one was obviously our step increases for our long-term staff. And I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, for making that happen for our long-term staff. I think that they were very pleasantly surprised, not expected. So thank you for that. Otherwise, really what we've done is much like you were just discussing. We had some items in our budget that we reallocated to different areas for the purposes of staff training and also just preparing for some upcoming car maintenance costs. So that would have been our $1,200 that we had in our building rent that we were paying at the law enforcement center. And when we moved over to the federal building, obviously, we're not doing the rent anymore. And so in using those fees, I can send our Hall County staff to, my plan is to send them to a national conference. It's something historically that we have always done. And so that afforded that opportunity to have that back on the table for consideration. And then also, several years back, we had purchased 2 vehicles in our fleet, and just planning for the reality that they're going to need things like new tires and things like that coming up. And so just planning for that. As you review, did you have any questions for me or for what we've submitted?
I certainly don't. How is it working out to being in the federal building?
You know, our officer really likes the space, says it's more space than he has, that we were used to working in. I think it meets our needs beautifully.
Good.
It's a very beautiful building, and we're just blessed to have had such a nice space become available to us. So thank you for opening that door and that opportunity for us. Couldn't be a better location for the court. So, you know, it's just really nice on our court days to just walk a half block and we're in our in the courthouse and taking care of business. And after court, to be able to have our clients walk over to the building for groups, or when we're meeting with new people who are considering coming into the program, you know, just come to court and we'll walk you over to the building and sit and have space to meet with you in a private location. So we couldn't be happier with it.
Good.
I want you scheduled every time and the first thing in the morning, because you just set the stage. Thank you. It's nice to hear that your staff was appreciative.
Yes.
That was, I mean, that means a lot, because we, you know, thought we were doing the right thing, understanding.
Yeah.
As you heard, we talked about the salary study, so.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, for those long-term staff, you know, and I worked for Hall County as a drug court officer, so I had maxed out my steps as well. So I know that once you reach that point, you know, the adjustments get fewer and far between, but so it's always nice to be having folks think about the staff and how to reward that long-term loyalty. So we appreciate that.
Okay. Any other questions for her? Not? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Do we want to go back to the lower level? We don't have anything till 11 o'clock, so we can go on.
We could get all this done.
You can actually go to page 20 on day 3.
Wasn't that a nice way to start the day? Somebody who really appreciated the effort.
Okay, right in my computer, there we go. All right.
I'm sorry, again, I'm sorry, you said.
20.
20 on like this day. I just left my
Day 3.
notes over there.
Thank you.
Okay, so first up, we have the Hornaday CDBG, which I forget what that stands for, but I know it's a pass-through grant. So you have the, yeah, basically the $1 million, looks like a little bit came in the last year, but there's up to the $1,010,000 budgeted for basically the rest of that to come in, and then basically the whole amount budgeted to come out. Again, my understanding is that that will just completely pass through the county, so no levy impact. It's, you know, basically just budgeted, so it's all there and available to be spent on whatever timing that arrives. So I don't think you have anything to do there. Next would be on page 22, Building and Land Improvement Reserve. I guess, is there any more discussion, or what were your thoughts on this, Kim?
There were, we did make one adjustment. I spoke with Dune, and regarding the park improvements, there was some confusion between what he originally budgeted and what he asked for, and so that amount was a little bit short of what they thought they were going to need. So I did not change the overall budget amount, but I did take a little bit from one line and adjust it so that they've got about 50,000 in there. It's probably more than what they need, but for budget purposes, it just gives them some flexibility for some of the landscaping and stuff that they originally had asked for that maybe we didn't have in there. And so on that line for that storage building, that we adjusted already, I just adjusted that another 25. So the overall budget did not change at all, we just moved some lines around. And if the board feels they want to do something different, then you can absolutely do that. So we took 25,000 from the possible storage building and just added that to the parks.
Which line item is
Yeah,
that?
what line item?
So it was line item
But-
5-0634.
That's the storage
That's
building.
the storage building, possible future storage building.
Okay.
And we took 25 from that line and we just reallocated it to the park improvement, which is 5-0206.
So the park improvement was originally 25 and now it's 50, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, and then this was 3,000 and, oh, no, it was 250 and now it's 225.
Yeah.
And we cut, and why did we?
Because it was, I believe that storage building, I think where your brain's going, Pam, was originally 500, but the board requested an additional transfer for cash reserves, and so we took that out of the building to get it to the 250, and then the 25 reduction Kim's talking about gets it to the 225.
So I was just wondering, does anybody know, and I failed to ask Dune when I talked to him, if he has something in mind? I'm not opposed to leaving it there, but park house improvements for $5,000?
I think that just comes naturally in that line.
He's just leaving it there?
Because I think last year, didn't they have that sewer line
They had
break underneath the
2,000,
house?
yeah. And then they had some wires fall, I think, and damaged the roof the year before. And
Yeah.
so, okay, all right, I'm good. I didn't know if he had something in mind or.
I'm not aware of any other building and land improvement changes. Okay,
I think
so,
it's just because the house just needs maintenance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
yeah. So if the board has no more questions on that change to building and land improvement reserve. Okay, then we'll go to inheritance, which starts on page 27. No changes to the revenue, so I guess you can go to page 28. And this is really to just show the changes that were kind of requested, and so we bumped up the Wood River ambulance, the 5-0305, bumped that up by the $50,000. We increased the cash reserve amount to the 750, that bump. And then the building and land reserve went down because we reduced theirs by the 250. So the transfers coming out of inheritance is the $2.77 million. Because then we also adjusted basically that future projects line, 5-1213 gets adjusted to whatever it needs to be to make the cash reserve in this fund $1 million after we bumped the revenues up to 13. So $12 million is somehow being budgeted as either a transfer to another fund or to an expense, not an expense, a planned expenditure. So that's available to the board. But otherwise, those changes were kind of all talked about. I mean, and Kim did put the salary study in here too for $130,000. It's up there at 2-9902.
Thank you, Kim.
So again, I know we've already gone through this fund, but just showing you kind of some of those changes and making sure there aren't questions there. Okay. Next is justice. Kim, are you gonna do the chaplain services update?
Well, I don't know if there is one. I thought Marty might be here. But since
Maybe we
scheduled,
save it
so maybe
for when he
we'll
is
come back
here.
and see if he can give us an update.
So I know that's been being looked into, but I just haven't heard anything, so.
What?
The chaplain,
Oh, chaplain, yeah,
services,
yeah,
the reimbursement issue,
What page is the justice one on?
page 29.
I think chaplain, I just saw it, 2-2549.
Because I think when Marty was here the last budget meeting, he said he would come back with
Yeah.
some
We've
info. So he's scheduled to be here at 11:15, so we can maybe just revisit this
That's good.
Then,
for that.
I'll write that down.
Isn't that an in and out though?
But we haven't gotten any in.
But
We've
but
all
I
put it
mean,
out.
why would we put that as a budget item if we're not knowing if we're gonna get anything in it? I think we
Yeah.
just cut it.
Yeah, it-
Well, I would, if there's any potential, so like, for example, let's say Marty gets this all worked out, which just from some comments he made Thursday, I think he felt confident he would get it straightened out. And so, if he's gonna get it straightened out and you guys are going to resume this, you would wanna, just like we do for example, like a grant, you'd wanna budget the revenue in and budget the expense out. Cause even though I know from an accounting perspective, it's like, it's a wash, it doesn't really matter, that's not how the state views it, because they really care about making sure your expenses are under your budget, and so we always wanna budget both sides of that. I get from an accounting brain, you're like, it's an in and out, does it really matter? As an accounting brain person, I get it, but.
make sure we're getting the in.
Yes. Yes, but yeah, that's really the issue there, is that the reimbursement money hasn't been showing up, or that's my understanding of the issue. The reimbursement money hasn't been showing up, and efforts have been made to collect it, and they've been futile.
Stop paying out.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we still,
You
Yeah.
haven't
yes.
got anything, not a penny from
No, we have not received any revenue, no. We only paid out 12,000. Those were two, invoice number 1 and 2, but I've tried, I've sent stuff out and no revenue.
how long ago were these paid?
Oh, you got me.
Just roughly.
At least 6 months ago.
Oh,
okay.
it's, yeah.
So it
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
like
yeah,
the last week
because
or anything,
It
yeah.
went back to 2025, November and December.
Okay.
That was the first one we paid, that was $4,000. And then there was an additional one after that, and yeah, so it's been a long time and no revenue.
So they've had plenty of time.
They've had plenty of time, I have been
To get what
bugging
they
them,
need
and
done.
they're not liking me contacting them. But, I mean, what else to do? So, when I send the request, I send them to
Scam.
Sheriff Joss Burley, Chief Denny, and the Grand Island Road, whatever that was, that Melissa Delaki.
Yeah.
Community Foundation.
Right.
Yep,
Wow.
3 times I've sent, so,
And they came in here, this is a great thing, it's gonna work, it's
yeah,
gonna
I'm
work.
gonna get the money
Help
back,
the
they'll, you know,
people.
the form, my forms are set up, I've got my source codes, everything ready to go, and it's just sitting there, because I haven't got any revenue.
You know, the funny thing about it was, because I couldn't understand it, I think our past sheriff was a little skeptical. I don't know why, I just kind of got that feeling.
Yes,
And,
a little.
and so,
That's an understatement.
yeah, and so,
Because you
yeah.
know what
So,
church that has too much money,
Yeah,
and then
Because
they're
it's
gonna give
basic.
another
but if it was
50,000.
coming out of the Greater Grand Island
But-
Community
So,
Foundation.
I
It's
mean, I
based
really
on
didn't understand it at the time, I thought, well, this,
Contributions from other entities.
But it's not just one church, I think it's a series of churches that give to it.
Smaller churches. That's even worse,
yeah, harder, yeah, more difficult.
even to get harder.
Well, at this point, we know where we're at, and we're not gonna put any more into it, so.
I think we just put that maybe as the first thing we talk about with Marty when he gets here at 11:15. We'll just
Okay.
have that be the first thing that we do.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just move on from justice for now. And so next on page 31 is the gaming tax fund. So there, we can kind of go over, you'll kind of see, you can see the history there. That first year was kind of, I mean, let's call it partial operations. And then we've gotten into full-scale operations for the casino and kind of the tax that's being collected there. So in the actual 2025, 2026 column, you'll see where we started the year with the $1,338,290.22. What was actually collected was $1,500,057.12. And so what we've budgeted, what we've been doing, and if the board wants this change, we can change this, but we've just been budgeting up to $3 million. And unless, if the board wants, we could bump that to 4 million. We're still just gonna budget kind of an out on the other side, but right now we've been kind of just saying, let's take the cash rolled forward, budget up to the 3 million, and then kind of budget the expenses from there. So then,
You think 3 million is enough, everybody?
I mean, the worst case scenario there is that an extra million comes in and then it's sitting in cash for you to use the next year. It's not like you would lose it or anything like that. But so far, 3 million has been adequate. So on page 32, we basically took that $3 million and we transferred half of it, 1.5 million, which was approximately what you got in receipts from the previous year. We did a $1.5 million transfer to general fund, which supports tax relief. And then the other 1.5 million, we just budgeted as other equipment, basically so that whatever project or need would come up, the board would have it available to spend on that.
But when the people voted for that, I thought we said we would give all of that to property tax relief.
Nope.
And so there's $56,104.11 left.
We did not say we would give all of it. I mean, if you can find that, please, but
But
I
that's
called
what the
this.
taxpayer voted for.
Well, I checked with the state auditor on that, I think last year, to see if we, what our responsibilities were and what it could be used for, and they said basically it was like the Keno funds.
But the last 2 years, we used the exact amount for property tax relief.
We
And
did,
then-
I don't think it was a 7-0 vote, but we did.
Well, last year, so what you,
What we
Hold
took
on.
in, we used. What we took in the 24, 25, the 819, and then the 109, 504 was exactly what we collected and what we've sent out.
And Karen, I'd be fine with that if we then put we transfer some of the places that we use the inheritance fund. And then we keep the inheritance fund at a level that would be supportive of salaries and so on.
I mean, I definitely think that this fund is gonna be probably talked about. I mean, I know Karen's obviously making, I can hear the commentary here. I know Scott had made a comment previously, so I'm sure this fund is going to get talked about more. But yeah, my understanding of, I mean, I would argue any dollar that gets spent out of here is property tax relief. Any dollar you are spending is saving the taxpayer money in one way or the other. The timing of it, again, my understanding would be that it's up to you guys. You may feel a certain obligation, but you don't have a legal obligation to expend it all every year. But yeah.
That was.
But I was just looking at our past history, and what we've taken in on that, we've put back into property tax relief. That's the only thing I was looking at.
Yeah. The only question becomes if we use that, let's say we've transferred the additional 56,104.11, then does that reduce our spending authority?
Yeah, it's authority you would lose in the future. Yeah.
The other thing, we've not set up a reserve for this fund. That is something that the board can decide if you want to set up a reserve for this fund. Similar to the inheritance fund, which, has some questionability about how that's gonna look in the future. So it might be a good idea to establish a reserve in this fund. And we could definitely do that if that's the direction the board wants to go. I would say it might be good future planning for whatever the county may need to maybe start that.
That's not a bad idea, Ken, because that 1 million that we have, I mean, we can get down to, we can spend everything but $1 million in the inheritance. And some people would do that. But you can't spend that last $1 million unless it's an emergency. I mean, there's specific.
That's a resolution.
I think it would, and it would take a resolution and a budget amendment to undo that $1 million.
And
Yeah.
it might also be a good to offset any additional that the county may receive if it's higher than 1.5 that they received last year.
Just out of curiosity, has anyone looked at that, or maybe that's some information we could get at some point, is just how the receipts continue
I do
to
have that.
trend?
I don't-
Yeah,
Okay.
you just sent those out.
Yeah, I do have that.
So I don't get that, so I just don't know, but that would be, could add some color and context to this discussion.
It's definitely growing.
Would you be all right with that? Setting up a reserve?
I'd be okay with a reserve.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Is there a dollar amount? And if we bump this to 4 million, you could possibly do a reserve of 1 million. Is that right? Am I thinking that right?
You could, I'm just trying to think through, because my only concern with that was then you're bumping, you would, okay, on the revenue side, you would obviously have to bump, let's just use the million, you'd have to bump the revenues by $1 million. I don't know if that is going to happen. You came in at 1.5 last year, so I don't know if we're really on track for a 33% increase in revenue. And so then I'm thinking through, okay, so what happens then if that revenue isn't achieved? You would go on the other side. We'd basically, right now, we're saying if we just added $1 million to the reserves, I mean, I'd assume we're gonna have the $1 million in reserves. You just have to, obviously be careful if there's other expenses that end up needing to come out of here. Cause right now I would think $1 million in reserves would be achievable, given that for the last 3 years, your incoming cash balance has started at least a little bit over $1 million. So I think you would be okay doing that. You just might limit, if you're gonna put that in cash reserves, it would potentially limit, if the revenues don't show up to that degree, what other projects could come out of this in the next year, which I don't think there's anything planned to come out of it, so again, you're probably okay, but I'm just letting you know that'd be kind of the quote-unquote risk.
Right now, the June receipts are at $824,827.36.
That's not right.
That
That's
seems,
the
that's like
year
half the year.
Yeah, it is. This is. the
Oh, that
June-
is six,
June
okay, so
receipts.
824,000
Yeah,
is
it's
6
from
months
January to
worth.
June.
Okay, so you are tracking, I mean, basically you're
little bit
tracking it,
higher.
yeah, 1.65, let's say. 1.65 million is approximately what you're tracking, so a little bit, I don't think you're gonna get to 2 million this year based off of that. But yeah, you are tracking, it looks like slightly higher. And I'm sure there's some seasonality
Yeah.
to the casino receipts. For example, I could see that horse race season would be a lot higher. There's people already in proximity and they just walk over there, but
And also State Fair could be a,
yeah, so that might, and that might give it a boost in the back 6 months. But those two might kind of equal each other out.
And I
except
think
you
the
see-
cattle shows down there has been helping. Because they
Yeah.
get done at the cattle shows, they go over to the
Just
casino.
walk on over. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, at least right now, you are on track to be at least a little bit ahead, maybe 100,000 ahead of where you were last year.
so do we need a motion to make that consideration? To set up a,
Sure.
To create a cash reserve definitely, I think, requires a,
Karen, you
A
brought it up. You want to
resolution.
make a motion or should I?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we establish a cash reserve for the
gaming tax.
gaming tax fund.
Of,
Cash reserve, shall I, are you okay, Karen, with $1 million?
We could do, what do you think? But
I don't know that you have to set the
Dollar
number.
amount.
I think you do. Well, we would have to in the resolution.
I feel like we would need to know the dollar amount.
In the
What-
resolution.
Yeah, we have to at some point say what the dollar amount is, or,
So, okay, it'll include $1 million. That we set up, reserve fund of $1 million in the gaming tax fund, and then the
I thought we were
details
just
will
gonna
be.
do the 56,000 left over. But whatever, we'll see what the board's taste is. Is there a second?
is there a second?
Second.
It's to save $1 million back in the gaming tax fund. It's
For reserves.
For reserves, for
For
emergency reserves.
Yep.
Oh, that's right, liquors.
Voting is open.
I don't know if we want that much. I want that much, because then we're putting that much back. I was only thinking the 50.
Well, that's a total. You don't have to put it all in there at one time, Karen,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you were for it.
I was for 50, the rest of the money in there. So,
It could be accumulative. We could put it that way. We could put it in, you know, like.
6 yes votes, motion carried.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll
I'm just grateful we're saving some money.
put in the 1 million cash reserve and we'll do that by increasing the revenue. So there's no levy impact to that decision.
I have a question.
Wait a minute, okay, you did vote yes, right, to,
This looks like,
no,
no,
Carrie
okay.
voted no. Is
Carrie.
that right?
But it passed.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, so, okay, sorry about that.
4 to 2.
Yeah,
4 to 2.
okay.
No, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Now, we don't have, Scott's
Six of
gone.
us, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
simple math.
Sorry.
It's like that.
I was pretty good, but it's like, I got confused.
Okay,
And I want to make it clear, I mean, to everyone, my very big concern in all of this is quite frankly, funding the salary study, which I know we have money for, but then the results of that. That's my big concern in all of that. And until we know that, I'm uncomfortable, spending money that we absolutely do not have to.
Right.
Because I think that it's, when it would have taken all of our money, well, it did take, basically, all of our new, I call it new money, some people don't like that, additional funding. It would have taken all of our additional funding this year just to pay our salaries. So if we, and that's 3% on steps, so if we end up with 7% or,
Those of us that went through the 2015
Yeah.
salary study.
yep,
But a lot of that was the metropolitan stuff we got
Oh,
ourselves.
yeah.
Some of it was,
MSA and all
but-
that.
Yeah, that was a lot of that.
some of that was
But now
22%.
now it's the minimum wage that's gonna kill us.
On the bottom side, on the bottom of the salaries, that's causing the increase there. I mean, if you think about it, the vote on the minimum wage over a 5-year period was 66% increase.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir here, we're like,
Yeah.
it's tough on.
Well, business owners, because our slice is on the business side of how
And that's the other
businesses
thing that
cost.
could impact us down the road, real candidly, is our slice number right now is pretty generous.
Yeah.
Very.
If all of a
2.6.
sudden, if it was down to 1 or 2% or even flat,
right.
that would really limit what you could do.
I mean, I was a little baby auditor when the last salary study was done, so I don't have a lot of memories of that, and I wouldn't have been in this room when that was happening, but I would guess that based on how the calculation was done at that point, yes, there was it was at least stable. You knew you could always count on the 2.5% plus whatever growth you had over the 2.5%. But you knew you always had 2.5 no matter what. And so I'm guessing that at that point in time, and some of you have been around that long and could maybe tell me if I'm right or wrong, I guess, but I'm guessing that stability gave the board the confidence, because I mean, what I've been given from Marla is the sheet that basically said, hey, year 1, we're doing this percent. Year 2, year 3, I think it went 4 years if I remember right. And so that, was it 3? Marla's saying 3. I thought, but basically it was definitely more than 2 years. I mean, that gave the board the confidence to create that schedule and say, hey, this is what we think we can do based off of our, guaranteed increases, knowing you had to stretch for some departments because some departments were 8 and 9% for at least 2 of those 3 years. You're just in a different environment now where nothing is guaranteed to you. And I don't think that inflation is going to just tank to 0% next year. But it would be, if you guys would create a schedule like that, you'd have to be flexible, knowing that in the future, you're not guaranteed anything. Where at least 10 years ago, you were for sure guaranteed the 2.5% every year.
But the Federal Reserve guy that wrote that article in the paper that they wrote about, they said they were trying to get inflation to be at 2%.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're gonna do with that interest rate.
I mean, I'm not, all the speculation I've seen is that it, the interest rate could go up in order to try to taper
That
some of this.
2% down,
Right.
yeah.
That's all the speculation I've seen.
But then we're gonna not have houses selling and stuff like that as rapidly because people can't afford those payments.
Right. I think people are still eagerly awaiting housing rates to come down, but from what I've seen, I mean, obviously they held rates steady at the last meeting. I think even at that decision, some people were surprised and thought that there would be an increase. But I don't think anybody was no one I've talked to was expecting a decrease at the last meeting.
Well, and I would also say, those of us that are gray-haired, the rates that we're at right now for housing are significantly lower than they were
Right.
40 years ago. So
Right.
even though it may be historically high in the recent history,
Right.
history itself shows that those rates can be a lot higher than what they are now.
Oh, even
Yeah.
06, 07, 08, those rates were 10.
Right. 15, 18 in some of the 80s, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, in
So-
the 80s, but I'm just saying like
Yeah.
08, 07, some of
Oh,
those
yeah,
years, they were
that
10.
crash.
I had
Yeah.
a floating rate loan that went to 20 on a business, so.
Yeah, that gave me like goosebumps a little bit. All right.
So,
Well, maybe, yeah, like you said, maybe I lived through some of that, and I probably ultimately, the worst of the worst probably won't affect me. I know it won't affect the two of you, and so, I mean, we're doing this for posterity, not for today.
yeah, okay, let's move on to the museum.
Museum starts on page 33. So they have their own fund, and the property tax is calculated separately here. So basically, every year that has a starting cash balance that you can see. There's a couple other small revenue sources that, are kind of budgeted here. They're not overly significant. And then the property tax basically becomes a plug to get us to the 1.225 million. So 1,225,000. So we put in the property tax revenue to make sure we get up to that 1,225,000. The reason that is 225,000 is because you'll see on the next page, right now we have budgeted the 975 that was requested from the museum, and then there is a $250,000 cash reserve in that fund as well. So that's why we budget the 1.225 instead of like just the 975. There's a cash reserve in there.
So the $250,000 cash reserve is there because, as we all know, taxes don't come in evenly.
Right.
And they have to pay their bills evenly. So I don't know, I mean, I'm probably opening myself up here, but I want to at least have the discussion with the board. When Chris came in, what he shared with us about salaries, and the salaries part is the part that concerns me. It is not sustainable. There's no way that they can sustain what they're doing with having even made the cuts they have. And what did he say? What was the shortfall this year?
He had requested from the foundation $100,000. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, was it
Okay.
100?
I believe it was 100. Yeah.
So I don't know how that turned out. I don't know that we can fund his shortfall, but I think that we do have a continued responsibility to the museum, in my way of thinking. It's a county, it is, people voted in it. It is a responsibility of ours. And I think the responsibility, as far as I can see, would be the fact that we have given, now I know a few years ago, we upped it. We had that Indian money or whatever, and so we gave some money to the museum. But there's no ability for them, and there's nothing that says we have never worked with the foundation. We've never said to the foundation, hey, I don't know what your responsibility is to the museum. I don't know how they fund that. I don't know how they increase it. I just don't know. Or if they actually help with operating costs, or if they just do big projects. I don't know that. I probably should. But anyway, do you know, Karen?
Well, a lot of that is through the foundation. If we have needs, or like Go Big Give gives them that extra money, things like that, and our paid admissions.
But does foundation help with operating costs or just big projects, generally speaking?
It depends. If the operating costs are a need, they do help.
Like the addition?
Yeah.
But generally speaking, it's
Paid admissions, it's our dollars.
big projects.
It's yeah, the United Way
That's-
gives you know, they get a big chunk from United Way.
And that would be my thought. So there's absolutely nothing in the museum's budget that, that allows for the inflation that we've seen, like for instance, the fact that we give our people, you know, like a 3% increase in the salaries. There's nothing in their budget that allows them to do that. And I guess I feel that we have some responsibility, not total responsibility, to consider that. But I'm not going to beat a dead horse to death. If nobody else feels that we have that responsibility, then, you know, it's kind of silly for me to waste my breath and, like I said, beat a dead horse. But if there are people around this horseshoe that think, yeah, I mean, she's got a point, that this, that we have, you know, say when it comes to their salary budget every year, that if there's a 3% increase, we go 50-50 with the foundation or something, or we, you know, we make some arrangement so that Stewart knows that they can give their people some kind of an increase without putting their well-being in jeopardy. And that's, I mean, that's what's happening. Because I mean, it's kind of like we do here at the county. If we don't have money, what do? I mean, generally speaking, the big budgets take the big hit because there's no place else to go. So the only place they have to go after the money is from repairs. So they would need to let their you know, their buildings go to, you know, have that. That's the only liability. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of they could do. So anyway, I'm through talking. I'd like to know if anybody else has any interest, has any concern over this, because it is in fact our museum.
Well, I definitely think you have a point, Pam. And it's, you know, it's remained the same amount for ever since I can remember. And this, you know, they cut, what, 35% of their employees to try to maintain. And, I mean, side note, I don't think this minimum wage thing is really helping anybody like they thought it would. People are losing jobs, and then prices are going up to make up the difference. So I don't know who's winning here. However, I agree that there's maybe something we could do to help them so it's, I mean, they're just like getting by the skin of their teeth every year, which it's just not sustainable, and I'm not sure what's going to happen or what's going to start dropping. Yeah, maybe the buildings start dilapidating, and I'm not sure, but I agree that, I agree with the general idea that maybe we could help them some way.
I do know their discussion was that they're going to be hooking up to city sewer, and I don't know how they're paying for that. Is that through the foundation that is doing that kind of thing? And we don't really know how their foundation functions or what their total asset base is in terms of what they have the ability to help.
The Visitors Bureau has given them $275,000 to put in fiber so that the people that were the summer help that they didn't rehire back, that can all be a QR or a push the button like a lot of other museums do. So I know that they have other things on the horizon looking forward to that. I thought this year that the foundation was going to fund that difference on pay scale for those employees. Yeah, so it's whatever the board wants to do.
They did fund it?
They told us that the foundation was going to fund that little bit difference. And
Which was 100,000, right?
that was 20, they said at the meeting. So
Well, that's why I wondered about the 100, because I thought when you and I talked at one point, I thought you said 20.
Yeah, it was 20, so I didn't know where we
Is that
got
right?
the 100.
Did Chris say 100? I mean, that's the number I remember.
Said 100.
So I can go back and watch the recording really quickly, but
At the
I,
meeting, they said 20.
okay.
Maybe it was an additional 20 over what they had done before. Because
Yeah, were they already supporting 80, Karen, maybe?
See, I don't know, because
Okay.
now with the differences, I don't know, because it really confused me when he said 100 when at my meeting it was 20, so I didn't quite understand that.
Would it be reasonable for us to get a little bit more information before we make any decision to do anything?
Sure. I mean, I'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
I just don't want to, the employees that they have left, I feel as important that we support them in some way. And that's,
And they are very educated.
The county funding originally, according to the original vote, was for maintenance.
yes, that's true. But, you can count maintenance in any way you want to. I mean, if you want to count it toward maintenance and then that money goes to the salaries, my point is just simply that there be adequate funding there for, to
And we
sustain
did
the.
increase it 2 years now, and 2 years, the tribal money last year.
Right.
And then this year would still be the 75,000 increase that we had given them in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think it was originally 900,000.
It was 900.
Yeah, I think it was 900 for a long time. You
Yeah.
guys gave them the increase to the 975. The first year you took 75 out of there. The second year you took 25 out of there, in theory, or you could say it went to general,
But
however
the
you want to look
25
at
went
it.
For the
Right.
veterans, concrete around.
Okay, that's what you're saying, 25, and that's fine. But, and then the 975 has stayed consistent
the
for
last 2 years.
just 2
and
years,
it's been
right?
3 years, yeah.
So it's 2 or 3, I think, just
Well,
2.
why don't we try and gather some more information regarding how the foundation works and what their asset base is and what they're able to support, if that's going to be enough to do it, but,
I know that they're gonna save a lot without the employees and going to this fiber and having that
yeah.
push button.
Would it be all right? I'll just call Chris and say, hey, Chris, did you get the money from the foundation for the employees? I'll bring back the information. I'll try to
What
get
is it,
all of them this
100 or is it
afternoon.
20 or what?
Yeah, what was
are
it?
we talking about?
What was it and did the foundation cover it?
And I saw what the
And it's-
races were for the employees, I was just going that up, so I don't know.
And it sounds like kicking the can, which I'm sorry about that, but,
Doesn't it
but we
concern you
could,
that every year he comes in here and said attendance is up, membership's up, everything's going wonderful, but they're losing ground? Doesn't that scare anybody else? I mean,
I think he said why. I think he was talking about the salaries. I think that's the
but
deal.
I mean, everything has been the greatest it's been out there in years, and it still isn't enough. I mean,
Well, I'll be honest with you, Butch, I don't think it's ever going to be self-sustaining without additional help. I think it would be unrealistic to expect that attendance would be high enough that they wouldn't need support. I mean,
Gate will never.
yeah. It just won't. I mean, that's just it's a fact of life. Do we want it to continue to be there, or do we not? That's the bottom line.
And all you have to do is look at our budget and see that, that everything is it's just so much higher. Everything's costing more money.
Yeah.
Look at, so, I mean, like I said, it's just a matter, I listened to him the last 2 years and I thought, if we don't somehow or other come to some understanding, this is not sustainable for them. Something's got to give, you
Yeah.
know?
Okay, I think at this point, we just move on and try and get that information and then leave it where it is right now.
I'll
Yep.
give him a ring. Thank you.
Courthouse bond starts on page 35.
Okay.
So, again, there is as you guys know, there's a separate levy for this. You can budget up to 5.2 cents. That number is going to obviously shift, and even as we go through August, that number is going to continue to shift, but we have tried to start, close to the 5.2 cents, and so that is what is budgeted as revenue here. And then, again, there's some other small revenue sources that inevitably come through here because of the property tax exemptions and things of that nature. But those are a very minor part of the budget. Right now, between where the cash balance is and then what's being budgeted for those inflows, the revenue available for the budget year would be $6,856,450. Page 36, you will see lines 1 and the first 2 lines of that budget, the bond principal and the bond interest. Those lines are based on your actual required payment, is what I'll say, your actual required payment. And then we also have line 6-0201 is that third line there for the 3.8 million. That is there basically for future bond payments in principal, and as you approach the 5-year mark, that would be what would be available to do like an early payment to save the taxpayer money down the road.
I guess my philosophy is that we do as much as we can to accumulate money in that third line item so that we can pay the bond down. I think it's feasible that we might be able to take a 15-year bond and cut it back down to 10.
It was 20.
20-year
I know, but I mean 15, at the 5-year point, it'll still be a 15-year
Oh,
bond.
gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
Right.
that would reduce it to a 10-year bond. I think if you're able to do that, the amount of interest that we save the taxpayer far exceeds our ability to make a small adjustment in what we charge them for levy at this point.
Right. I mean, I know the payment obviously changes every year, but just, I mean, Ron's making a good point, just to put some, I couldn't do the actual math at some point if you want me to, but just roughly, you can see that, the principal payments over the last 2 years have been about 1.2, 1.2 and a half. And so, yes, as of now, you would have enough to, refund approximately 3 years worth. And so if you keep, hopefully by year 5, you'd have, be able to do a 5-year reduction in payments. And you can see the interest is obviously well in excess of the principal payment for now, because we're at the front end of the bond, but you can imagine how much interest it would save.
I completely agree with that.
And we have to see if the interest rates where they're at when we go to refinance.
Good, whether it would be
Yeah.
advisable to even refinance.
And you might not even refinance, you might not refinance and just make an early payment, just like you would on your own,
'Cause we have a
mortgage or
5-year
whatever.
early payment. After 5 years, we can do an early payment.
Right.
Yeah, you can do both after 5,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or just one or the other. You don't have to do both, to
But
be
we'll
clear.
have to just check the interest rate.
A lot of moving parts, but it's good general plan.
Discussion.
Yeah, and just also, so I think you guys know this, but just to make sure, so like, as we're doing like these calculations, keep in mind that like the bond money is included in those, levy numbers. So what we've budgeted for is already kind of in those calculations, I guess. So any changes to that will affect these calculations as well. But again, the bond is only for the bond, and so all the money that goes into there is basically money levied for the bond, and the money that goes out can only be used for the bond payment. And so then on page 37 starts the project fund. So the project is only for the building of the project. This is not for debt payments or anything like that. And so you can see, like, obviously the fund balance in there is decreasing as the project continues to be worked on and money continues to be spent. We've budgeted just a little bit of money there for any, interest that could come in. Yeah, I guess I don't know why there's 2 lines of interest, but regardless, there's some interest income basically budgeted, but no other income for this. Looks like we've put that up to $30 million, just so that, as money's available to be spent. And then on page 38, all of that, money is budgeted to go out to be used for the project. And there is some different line items used. I'll say the line items probably, don't necessarily matter that much. The expenses are going to be coded to the line that is appropriate as the invoices come in. I mean, any questions on that? Again, this money can only be used for the courthouse project fund. And, as that project wraps up, we'll see, if dollars remain in this fund. And my understanding is if dollars did remain, it would get transferred to the bond fund to pay the debt, but. Okay, otherwise, that fund's pretty locked down, kind of designated for what it is. Okay, if there's no questions on that, we'll go to miscellaneous general, which starts on page 39. We can, do you want to go through this line by line? Do you want to just do highlights?
Yeah, the only one I think we wanted to just double check on was the NOMA payment.
Yeah, that's the one that was bothering me the most. So line 2-0600. It's about fourth of the way down on that first page. So you can kind of see there how, like, 2 years ago there was a payment made of $737,000. We were budgeting $915,000. There's no payment in 2025, 2026, and we're budgeting $935,000. The payment for that is $813,000. Is that right, Kim? Is what the actual payment paid in July was. So $813,000 is what the NERMA payment was this year. My understanding is the invoice basically came in late after the cutoff for June claims.
Okay.
And so it's getting paid in July. So what I want the board to just like kind of think through for a moment is, had that invoice come in timely and therefore had the check been able to be cut timely, cash would have been at a starting point $800,000 lower than where you actually are. And so we just need to decide how to kind of move forward here. It feels like you kind of have a couple different options. One, we can just say, hey, because we can't rely on the invoice to get here on time, we are always going to pay it in July. That way if it does come in early, we just hold it until the July cycle. You could do that. Or if we're saying, no, we want to get this payment back into June, kind of for comparability. If you do that, you are going to have 2 years of NERMA payments in next budget year. And if that's what we're going to do, should we basically increase that line by the 813 so we can fit them both into this budget?
So make that like 6 million.
Oh, no.
It'd be like 1.75
Oh,
million.
Yeah, that line, but at
Yeah,
the
that
bottom-
line.
The bottom line would make that requested higher, since we didn't have the actual.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what, I don't know what anyone's thoughts are. I'm not aware that the timing of this invoice has been an issue in the past, so I don't know if it was just a one-off thing or what, but
Unfortunately, this year, and our payroll and our vendor claims follow our biweekly salaries.
right.
So because of the calendar was the only reason that the June vendor claims were paid out on the June 19th, which is extremely early.
Very early.
We don't like it that way because it's, but I mean, I don't know what else you could do.
Right.
So, yeah, it is.
And then
It's gonna be
CASA
an issue.
didn't get in either.
Yeah.
'Cause they,
You can look
remember
at.
CASA
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
get in. Remember that? They had to be paid in July.
So, I mean, it's just,
So it's gonna be an ongoing problem?
you just have to look at the 2027 June calendar and when it's going to fall. I've got it upstairs, but I mean, it
Well, then we gotta
could,
count on it, right? I mean, we need to count on it, don't we?
Well, I mean, so like the issue is like, so she's saying it was June 19th. So that means the next date of claims would be like, what, July 1st, basically?
Yeah.
So it's like almost the worst case scenario.
it
'cause-
was the worst, absolutely the worst case scenario because we
Right.
had a
11
meeting
days
July
left.
2nd and we don't,
Yeah.
I
So,
guess-
And in addition to that, it split payroll because it was actually paid out in July. So it was,
Yeah.
it's just,
And we were having trouble getting claims in at the roads.
Yeah,
To pay
yes, to
bills
get 'em.
before the end of that month to get it in this year.
So
And we didn't
next
get
year
all
will
of
be
it
July
done.
2nd, right?
I am
One day.
trying to track it out right now.
yeah,
I
I
think,
have to.
yeah, I think it just goes.
Yeah, it looks like next year,
June
June
July
18th
2nd.
would be the day, and then July
that's
2nd,
it.
yeah. So you're gonna have another bad year, an event, and then my guess is you'll have one more bad year after that. And then the next year, it'll reset and it'll be like better, so it's.
It was hard to get claims in this year.
It
Very
is.
hard.
Well, your utility claims,
Yeah,
nothing
it just
was,
hit hard.
just not even available.
I
Credit
guess the other
cards?
question,
I think so. I can keep tracking out, but I think so.
is our renewal date for our insurance July 1st?
Yes.
So the other issue that you run into, if you wait until July to pay it, are you technically in violation of, I assume you probably have a 30-day or 15-day grace period,
Yeah,
but
30 day.
I don't know, maybe there's a leap year, because the third year, well, I don't know, I guess I don't know. There'll be one on June 16th, and there'll be one on June 30th, if I'm doing that right. So maybe there's a leap year, because I thought you'd have one more bad year, because July 2nd, you'd think July 1st, but no, it hits June
And we had
30th.
2 weeks hits.
How would you like to handle it, Marla?
Yeah, what's easier for you, or does it matter?
I don't want us to jeopardize anything with NERMA, most certainly.
Mhm.
And, I don't know, it's just, we're gonna wind up, I thought about this too, we're gonna wind up making 2 payments in 1 year, and I don't know what other option there would be. And it's just because unfortunately, that's the way the calendar is followed. And it makes it even a day earlier next year, so.
so let's
That's
assume
kinda-
that we budget for 2.
Right.
How does that impact our levy?
I mean, it's going to be, we can pull up the levy sheet that Kim has and just add, 813,000 to it
So-
really
so
quickly,
basically
but
you're
it's
adding
gonna add back.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
add back.
So
It is an add back, but I'm just saying, if that money would have come out
we take it out of?
in June, your cash would have been lower and you'd have a levy impact anyway.
But
So it's,
could we take it out of general until we get that funded back? I don't know.
this is general.
Yeah,
This is general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would argue if it would have came out in time, you gotta keep in mind your cash would have been lower and you'd have a levy impact anyway. That's why I don't necessarily, I understand the board being like, oh, do we wanna impact the levy? Well, the levy should have been impacted. The bill should have made it into the year, but it couldn't because of timing. Like, I'm not saying anyone did anything wrong, but if everything was as normal, it would have impacted the levy. That's what these bills are. They impact levies. That's what bills do. That's just, it's an unfortunate part of paying bills, but, yeah, the fact that it's so large, because like, for example, the CASA thing, we're not even blinking about that, right? We're gonna keep that, but like, this is almost $1 million, so it kind of stings you a little bit, but it truly was last year's bill.
I would say just keep paying it July myself.
The only thing with that is just making sure that if NERMA wouldn't have an issue with that, because yeah, Ron brings up a good point of like, what is your flexibility to pay that? You certainly don't want to get in trouble with insurance.
Maybe talk to them and tell them our situation.
The letter that we received for the payment was dated June 24th.
Okay. And how long do they give, does it say you have to pay
30
it?
days.
Okay, so you would, if it's 30 days, you should always have the opportunity, right?
Yeah, and worst case scenario, in a situation like that, where we did have that July 2nd, well, but still, it was July 2nd, so it was gonna come out the new fiscal year, so it's,
Without having an emergency meeting.
yeah, an emergency, well, I can't say we haven't had to do emergency meetings in the past too, so. So it's kind of,
I don't know. On vacation, no.
I mean, because the concern, I'm trying to think of also from like, okay, the state auditor standpoint and your compliance with state statute. If, like, let's say you just keep paying it and it's gonna be late at least next year, then I'm thinking about the year after that, where that's probably the year that 2 would hit, because you'd have the one that made it into July, and then I think you'll get back on cycle June 2028, so that's the year you're gonna have 2. So then and I don't really, it'd be a pain to have to remember that, so I'm just saying. And so then I'm just thinking through, okay, so if you have 1.6 million come out in 1 year, instead of just this, million, let's say that you're budgeting, do you have an issue with your compliance with state statute? Based on this budget, I don't think so. Keep in mind miscellaneous general, we keep, like that extra 500,000 budgeted there. We generally have a lot of, this is where we have kind of room for if mistakes get made, and luckily this insurance kind of falls in here, because it looks like you would have room, but, and I guess, God forbid, if something would happen that you had to spend the 500,000, we'd have to do a budget amendment to get both of them in here, but the chances of that happening seem statistically low, but I'm just bringing up the worst case scenario. Because like if you added an extra, 800,000 to last year's budget, you still would have been okay. I guess that's what I'm saying. Will that always be true? Not necessarily, but hopefully most years it is. That's what this part of the budget is for emergencies and unfortunate timings.
Would it be feasible or smart to budget for part of it?
You could just say, hey, you could, yeah,
Like another half.
Yeah.
you could. Just so you had the cushion for whatever year that the double payment, you ended up putting that in.
Because we can always adjust it after that, because then it
Right.
won't take place for several years. That's a good idea, actually. Imagine that from Ron, a good idea.
Yeah, that is challenging. Just make sure you come and visit me in my nursing
So we
home
want to add
next year.
400.
Thank you.
Okay, Norma.
No, that's a good idea. Let's just budget another half.
$500,000.
Well, but is it,
Well-
because it was 813.
I was thinking
813
more
is
like
what the
four.
actual bill is that was paid in July 2026.
Yeah.
Increase more than likely.
Right, because I don't think you guys get that quote ahead of time. You just kind of get the bill. I mean, you can
So
see.
budget like 450 or
That's-
something?
Yeah. that's
Well,
what I
because
was-
here, let me just do some quick math. So like last year it was 737. I'm just gonna do this really rough. So now it's 813 divided by 737. I mean, you got hit with the 10% increase.
Yeah.
So a 10% increase on 813 would
But-
basically bring you up to $900,000. It's 894. So basically 900,000. So yeah,
The other-
450 would be about half.
The other question is that we don't take into account with that number what our I don't know what they call it, refund or whatever, the rebate.
Yeah, we always get a dividend
Like
back.
40,000.
But
Yeah.
keep in mind, the
Yeah,
expense
but it's-
revenue is separate here.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm
Yeah,
just
okay.
saying.
Let's
Yeah.
just go 450. Let's just get the 450. Let's just, going once, going.
Well, the NERMA insurance, I'm just thinking, will that be going up as like, for example, as the courthouse gets completed and you have new property that needs covered?
Yeah.
Just keep in mind that's gonna go up even more at some point.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
That's all.
Because you've got another
then there's that.
huge building.
Yeah, that'll still be under, next year, it'll still be under the,
You'll still be
builder's
under,
risk.
okay.
Oh, next, yeah,
Okay,
so
so
27.
Okay.
for next year, and then we'll have more information. So
Yeah.
is
So we're
everybody
still okay
okay
with
with
the
450
450?
additional this year, and then next year we'll have more information, right? Right? Maybe?
I'm hoping maybe as soon as you get the courthouse completed, maybe someone can contact NERMA and say, can you just give us an estimate of what that's gonna add to our bill?
Okay, ladies, here's mine, 'cause I
I'll add
forget.
it to my
'Cause
notes.
I'll
Yep.
forget.
Not only that, but our utility bill will change. But
Okay.
let's say we decide that we want to either move the county attorney or the probation, we may have some building that would be sold that would reduce our,
Oh, yeah. I see.
Yeah, if you sell a building, yeah.
yeah, so.
Of course, we'll have the remodel expense,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
We're
All
not
right.
gaining here much, guys.
Okay. I mean, otherwise, the majority of this budget has, either been adjusted closer to actual or kind of kept the same over previous years. So I mean, I don't know if you guys, that's the main item I know I wanted to bring attention to. I don't know if the board wants to go over any kind of line by line or questions. I mean, you can see we still have the 500,000 of miscellaneous budgeted. There are several of these lines that we kind of go over with other departments, like the, civil defense and communication or the planning costs. So like some of these we have kind of gone over, but
Lower the appraiser's fees because of actual or?
yeah, I think just 2 years of history of being under.
It might be good to go over, line by line on page 40, just.
On page 40.
Yeah, how are we coming on that project, with the water project out there by the park? For the
Economic
industrial
development?
Oh.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Industrial tract.
yeah, I don't know.
We've only been talking about it for 10 years.
Right.
The water project.
The
it-
250
it
that we
really
did in
started.
kind, yeah,
Oh.
in kind. I don't know what we did on that.
Is it
We
done?
did.
Or is it, I mean,
We were supposed to use
we're not
our
gonna do it?
road department and equipment and stuff.
Yeah, well, we didn't have equipment even running.
Yep, I know.
It was a drainage
turned
issue.
out.
I didn't know, but we're not gonna do it, or
Well, I'm not sure. We'd have to ask Scott.
we
Scott.
signed an agreement.
Yeah, I know. A lot of it was in kind and we didn't have the equipment to do it.
Is this a line item?
No, it's not on here, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think it's on.
If it's in kind, I would think it wouldn't be.
But then we didn't do it in kind. We gave, there was something with that. We would have to
Started
ask.
saying it, we were gonna have to pay for
I know. Because we didn't have the equipment to do the in kind.
Where was that budgeted?
I don't remember. It was a line, it was a sheet.
it.
that
Yeah,
we
because we were
had.
gonna have to pay for all kinds of, engineering and stuff on it.
Yeah, and I don't know if the
Started out being
city,
a freebie.
did the city have trouble getting those easements?
I think they were having trouble with some of the landowners giving them easements.
To buy. I'm thinking that that's where it got stalled,
Yeah.
if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the city was able to capture and buy those easements from where they wanted to put in those drainage culverts
Well-
and things. I think it's still.
Is there,
Gary?
let's,
As usual.
where are we at?
Page 40, I think we should just go line by line, just to summarize everything.
Do you want to lead that, Kim, since you put together these pages? It's not, it doesn't come from a department or anything. I know you're not the department head of miscellaneous general, but.
Nope, so economic development is the first line, and they've requested 40,000. It's their annual request each year. The next three lines are the NRD, those are the projects that they have. And then they submit the information to us each year for what the county's portion will be. It's typically not large dollar amounts, and sometimes they don't even end up using or getting those projects, completed. Then the planning cost, this number comes from Chad.
Yep.
And so he was in and presented those numbers to the board. Comprehensive plan update, there is not one, so that's a zero currently. The ambulance cost with the city of Grand Island, that's a resolution, so that's set. And that's a 3% increase, I believe, this year. That's how that number
That looks right.
comes in. Area agency on aging costs, that was, they came in and presented that information to the board. Senior citizen services, again, that, and that's a combination of the information that they presented with Grand Island and I think Donovan and the river.
Yeah, we no longer do Donovan.
Or Wood River.
The health planning costs, that is the number that they are requesting. Same as last year.
That's Point C's cost.
No, health
No,
planning,
no.
that would be the,
Health department?
Oh, Health Department, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
the health department. Yep. Region 3, that information was also presented to the board. There was a slight increase. A lot of that information is based on population and the census. Mid-Nebraska Individual Services, that is the same as last year again. The Historical Society was in and presented their information, request for 10,000. Library cards, that is also an interlocal agreement.
Here we're gonna get asked to open the bookmobile.
Haven't heard anything.
Keep pointing. Things like that sneak up on us.
Haven't heard anything.
The next one is the transit
Don't
system.
offer.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's at 0. This line was added back when the transit first started, and the board decided to open a new fund. So this, I don't see this line ever being used in the future. So we'll take it out probably as it falls off. Civil defense and communications, that's the emergency management. So John was in and presented that number to the board. The Humane Society, that is also an interlocal, so that is a number that is set by that agreement. DHHS agreement, that is the 50,000 that worked through, and that,
Just coming to an end in a few
yep,
years?
yep.
But I was thinking that they dropped that responsibility somewhere.
Isn't it? It was,
Remember we traded,
No, what I'm saying, I think the in the legislature, they had a bill in there that eventually we would not be responsible for any,
That ends the last year's 2028.
okay,
2028.
Okay.
I couldn't remember. I
Yeah,
thought it was
yeah,
27.
okay.
And then the last few are just microfilming. There's 2,000 budgeted for that. Taxes on governmental land, there's 5,500 budgeted for that, and then miscellaneous for the 500 block room.
Thank you, Kim.
You know what we get for rental without letting down myself a little bit?
It's on the agenda for tomorrow.
Okay, but it isn't a tremendous amount, is it?
No, no.
It's in your packet today.
Okay.
Yes, there's a letter from Jonna
Needfeld.
Needfeld, and she had been leasing it for the last 5 years, and that it is due to either go out for bids again in February of 2027, and if the board doesn't, she sent a letter to the board requesting to retain the rent on the, or retain the property, because they're planning on planting some type of a crop
Yeah.
that would,
Makes sense.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but how much are we paying in taxes on it? Because we do rent it, so we have to pay property
Yes,
taxes.
I can't tell you off the top of my head.
I mean, would most of that be this taxes on government landline? Do you,
That's what I'm wondering,
Yeah.
and is it covering the taxes? Because then we have taxes out at the Army Ammunitions, where we did that for a roads building, where we have those 18 acres.
Our total is, budget is 5,500, we paid 3,100 last year, so.
Yeah,
And I think,
And
isn't
isn't
the lease 6,000 a year?
so do you know what the
Yes.
rent is? Okay, it's like don't
About
think it's
6,000
broken
a year, I
out.
think.
That's in the agreement, it's in your packet that I sent.
Well, right now, ask Karen, I don't think Farmline is renting as good as it was.
Here I am, yeah.
yeah,
That-
but pasture is,
Pasture and hay
and
ground.
where that's down by the
Can't get.
river, and it's only 6,000, I think we could increase that a little.
It's, and then the one thing too, remember, it's isolated
Oh, yeah,
piece
you
of
gotta get through
land,
that, yeah.
because they have to.
Yeah,
No, no,
it's-
no.
It's,
Pastures are not prime. Pastures in the middle of Nebraska, they don't even have an access road, because you've got that state law that says you can cross that property to get your cattle into there, because there's not roads.
And this
Because there
is-
wasn't enough roads back in the day, or enough to put a road in because of the fact that it's just to put cattle back to a pasture.
Yeah, this is crop, so it's not, it's not,
It's crop.
If she's planting something, it's gotta be
Well,
crop, right?
Is it hay ground? Because I know they used to hay off of it. Remember that guy
I
did the bales? That
can't
one
tell you what-
that
what-
rainforest guy had
Rope.
bales,
yeah,
and he took the bales.
yeah, that was
I
an,
don't-
that was an issue.
You guys, all the hassle we went through, and this person has been, as far as I know,
haven't heard a
great.
peep from.
We haven't
Oh,
heard.
oh, no, we've
I
not
have
heard any
no
issues
concerns.
whatsoever.
Rents
Leave it
don't stay
alone.
the same that
News is good
long
news.
on ag ground.
Even-
So what are you gonna increase it to, $6,500, $500 difference? I don't know, it's worth,
And by the time we
yeah.
put out a request and put it in the newspaper and.
Yeah, if you go out, I
Oh,
mean-
my,
Well, but Christie did raise everything 8% on farm ground,
Yeah.
well,
so our taxes
my
We
will
part-
go
could,
up.
we could, yeah, and I did not look at that portion of it, I just handled
That'd be a
it.
fair increase.
I think this will be discussion for tomorrow, right?
okay.
Well, I'm just saying,
So
she
here we
did
go.
increase ag land, we're gonna have to pay higher taxes. And, you know,
Between now and tomorrow, why don't you do the investigation, figure out what that is?
okay.
And then also, why don't you maybe drive down there and see what she's got planted on there?
Well, and see, we've been planting sorghum and 4-H to feed cattle and bale it.
See what the letter says.
The last two
She
pages
sent us a
in your
letter.
book
It's in the
are
letter.
just where the current transfers are sitting and what funds they are coming in and out of. So it's just some additional information.
Just so you can see how money's moving.
Okay. So, we've covered all of that. Now with this change in the insurance amount, how does
Yes.
that impact the
Do you wanna
levy?
pull up your changes sheet, and I'm gonna, hold on, make sure that I also get mine in there.
One line to do.
Save that. I do keep, so like, Kim does her forms all in MIPS, which she absolutely should. I think the improvement to MIPS, I'll say on the record, have been great, and like, it helps kind of streamline some of these budget forms. I do keep the nice old Excel copies, and I like update them kind of as we go. And so I can, update those really quick here and kind of see how the calculations are spreading out. Just give me a minute, because I kind of have to go between tabs.
Why don't we take a 5-minute break, you work on that.
That'd be
We'll
great.
take a
Yes,
5-minute break.
thank you. That will help me. Keep saying it, that we're gonna revisit this in August, but pretty decent increase, and it's gonna move, and we can't predict it no matter what. But we can start to make plans, you know, seeing both sides of this, because yeah, I do think it'll probably be somewhere in the middle, and hopefully somewhere close to the projection number, hopefully somewhere close to what Christie's preliminary calculations are.
If we didn't have this salary thing hanging over our heads, I wouldn't be nearly as concerned. But I'm really, I mean, because when you figure, like I said, we'll probably need, I don't know, easy, an extra million, maybe an extra $1.5 million, easy,
I was able
and
to
maybe
open-
more.
I was able to open the previous year's budget really quick and get a better number on that, and so I did look, and like, if, you probably can't read this calc tape down here, but, so last year's personnel services, so the same exact box on last year's budget was $32,060,186.66. So then this year's number is the $33,690,103.26. I just found the difference and basically found the percentage, and it, so COLA plus steps plus all your personnel services boxed into a box, everything, did come out to a 5% increase. It's 5.08% increase. So just knowing that that is what actually happened budget to budget, that's what actually happened, and like I said, then I took.
And that's the current budget numbers that we have. That doesn't
Yeah, prior
include,
year budget and current year budget,
but
yeah.
that
So it
doesn't,
almost matches the slice.
but it doesn't calculate the changes that we're gonna make in the county attorney's budget.
No,
No, which I don't think is.
Which
part
will
of the-
be, I think it's
it'll be
less than
so minimal.
100,000,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's gonna be so, when you're comparing $100,000 to 33 million, it's
Yeah.
gonna be negligible.
Yeah.
So I get that that is gonna feel like a big impact to certain budgets, but in the whole budget picture, it's not gonna change that percentage of the budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost nothing, really. And so, your actual increase was 5%. So like I said, then we don't know what the salary study's gonna show, but if it did result in an additional 5% change to salaries, taking this year's $33,690,103.26, a 5% increase on top of that would be $1,684,505.16.
yeah, but, no, okay, because you'd
That's
be
why I'm
adding,
just saying, if we have to adjust these current budgeted salaries by 5% as a result of the salary study, it's almost $1.7 million.
yeah, but wait, you'll already have, oh, that's him. We'll already, just doing what we're doing now, the same thing, will cost us that.
Yes.
I think the salary study is gonna be over and above that.
Right,
So I
yeah.
think we could.
Potentially.
Potentially.
My hope
We
is
could
that
as much,
next year's slice will cover next year's regular increases. My
Gotcha.
question is, where are we going to get the salary study increases?
Yeah.
which would be another 1.2 or so million.
Right. You could expect that your
Potentially.
salaries will increase, let's say if it's a 5% salary study increase plus your 3% COLA on steps, so a 10% increase, it's $3 million, $3.3 million.
That's what I'm
Might
looking
have to
at.
transfer
That's
back
what's
out
worrying
from
me.
another fund.
There
but
you
you-
have it.
Why, if we have the money, I think it would make sense to set it aside so we can transfer it out of that fund later, because it'd be very difficult for any of your revenue funds right now to sustain an additional 1.5 million every single year. They
Yeah.
could sustain a one-time transfer of that.
But
a
you gotta-
recurring transfer would be difficult.
But it's gonna have to be the next year and the next year and the next year.
Which
Yes,
is why I
'Cause
want
then
to
you got
get the
steps and
authority, which I
COLAs.
said, that's why I'm stressing why keeping the authority is important, because we can pull from reserve, but none of your reserves are going to be able to maintain that over multiple years. And keeping your authority is the only way to create multi-year stability. That's my concern, looking forward in the future of the county and not knowing what the salary study is going to produce.
so all of this concern only matters if you're looking down the road. I mean, we can do it a year or two,
Yeah.
but
But you're not, I mean, I assume
You're
you're not
not-
going to give them increases and then say, sorry, guys, I mean, that's.
yeah,
So then where will you
that's
get it from
impossible.
is the question, and I think keeping your reoccurring authority is the way to maintain stability.
Stability,
Otherwise, I mean,
just
you
keep us
can't,
from
like
going
I said,
down the
yeah,
up.
do you have money in inheritance? Yes. But how many times could
There
you
you
pull
go.
$1.5 million from that before you deplete it? It wouldn't last
I'm not
very
gonna say
long.
that out loud.
And I know you have revenues coming in there, but you're already using that for property tax relief. You're using that for building projects, I mean, your cash has remained relatively stable over the last 3 years, which means you're using everything that comes in. If we start depleting it for salaries, it's only gonna last, I think, 8 million, let's say $8 million divided by 1.5, it's gonna last 5 years, and then. I
We've
don't know
always
what-
had that same scenario, 5 years.
Right, so
Yeah.
then what would you do?
Basically, it's not dissimilar to what we dealt with in COVID money, is that fund is not forever.
Right. But this expense, salary expense is forever.
Yes, exactly.
We need a forever plan to support paying people.
Yeah.
That's,
And salaries, whether we like it or not, are still the biggest expense we have.
And always will.
and I know this is a lot of trouble, but thank you, Kayla, because, you know, I can't do what you do. I'm not an accountant, but I can generalize pretty well. I mean, in general, and this has just been driving me crazy. I mean, it's just, this is, and I know this isn't just on me, there's 7 of us. So, how we vote, well, people have to be accountable for what they decide, because this is really serious stuff. It's one thing to say how much we value our people, it's another thing to plan for it.
Okay, well, shall we move on to the,
Yeah, I'll sit down here and throw this back into this for now.
is this Robin? Robin, I think we're ready for you.
Take you to my house and you help me purge. You and my daughter, you haven't won it in 15 minutes, you're growing. Good morning. How are you?
Making this easy on me since I'm here,
That's good.
but not near as nervous as
Good.
been around, right? Well, good morning, thank you for having me. I'm Robin Mays, I'm the Executive Director of Voice for Companion Animals in Grand Island. Voice for Companion Animals, for those who are not sure who we are, we were founded by local volunteers who believed there were unmet animal welfare needs in our community. I assumed leadership of VCA in 2014, and thanks to our amazing group of volunteers, we've grown from a small rescue into community animal welfare organization. For more than a decade, we operate entirely on volunteers, hiring our first executive director in 2025. This is me. Today, our programs include our animal rescue side. We do have a facility on Webb Road. We're hoping to expand. We purchased our property in 2020, which is not advised to try and purchase property in COVID, but we did it anyway. The property was being sold. We were leasing the property to Dr. Grover. When he passed, his wife said, I need to sell the property. So we said, give us a shot. We're already leasing it. We're inside. We don't want to give it up. We don't want to try and rehome the animals. Give us a shot. She was amazing. She worked with us. We purchased the property. We have the whole property. We have our property. We have Randy Sprinkler is currently who we are leasing to. So we do pay property taxes on the Randy Sprinkler part, and then we have the lot next to it. So for future expansion, we'll be able to almost double our capacity, but that's down the road. We're staying in our lane right now on what we can do and anticipating future growth. But we do have our animal rescue pet adoption side. We started with our pet food pantry and our animals program back in 2014, where we worked with the Grand Generation Center. We didn't want the people on the program to continue to give their food to their pet, or vice versa. We needed to allow that opportunity to provide pet food that was being delivered at the same time that Meals on Wheels was. So that was Diane, headed that up for us out of the kitchen at the Grand Generation Center. So we started there and had a small portion in 2014. So that was our pet food pantry. When we purchased the facility, we have a pet food pantry at our building. We are open on Wednesdays and Saturdays. That's staffed by myself and all of our amazing volunteers. So we did go from the facility to now having Wednesday and Saturday hours that we can have people come to our building. We have volunteers coming to our facility every single day to take care of the animals that are there. And we're available pretty much at any time. Our phones ring all the time. In 2022, we rolled out our Happy Tales Emergency Veterinary Assistance Fund. We worked and received the grant to get that off the ground. What that does is we help individuals during a veterinary emergency. We have helped since 2022. We've helped with kidney stones on several occasions, couple of hit by car, accidents, jumping out of the truck, breaking a leg, everything you could think of that was kind of out of the ordinary, unplanned. Using the same criteria though of helping the individuals, it's a one-time deal that can be a breaker when you're asking for a $1,500 vet bill, like a medical bill, that could wipe you out faster than anything. Our Happy Sales Fund is currently set up with the Greater Grand Island Community Foundation. It still has funds in it that, because we capped our assistance at $500 to make it, we will help you, but it's still your responsibility, still your pet. We still want you to be able to provide for your own pet. But we rolled that out, and then in 2025, which is why we're here, we rolled out the Spay Neuter GI program. That program, we are so, I can't even tell you, we're so blessed to have that program. In 2018, 2019, we kind of got our feet wet with it because we call it World Spay Day, where we took one day, and there's a World Spay Day annual event. It coincides with Doris Day's birthday, where we work with the vet clinics and to have one day where we provided the payment to the vet clinics, and we did spays and neuters at the vet clinics here in Grand Island. We did that 2018, 2019, 2020, and then of course COVID hits, and that takes care of that. That's where it started. So we saw how it would work. We saw the need firsthand, what works, what doesn't. We looked at Lincoln Animal Ambassadors because they have the most amazing group. We've looked at them with our pet food pantry. We've worked with Pauline and her people as far as, and Mary, as far as how they work their pet food pantry with Lincoln Animal Ambassadors, and they have a voucher system. We didn't really want to do a voucher system because it's just another piece of paper that gets lost, gets handed to somebody else. You have to worry about the validity of the paper. So back in 2024, we sat down with a group of us and worked with Dr. Missy Jordan Lemons, Dr. Summers, and we sat down, identified the need. We're way behind the problem now. We have a big problem. We need to get back to that. COVID did no one any favors. It stopped any elective type surgeries at the vet clinics, only focused on what was needed. Spay neuters were put aside. We are now really behind the 8 ball. So we've had a lot of conversations with the animal medical clinic as far as what can we do, how do we do this. So we sat down, had some discussions, how can we get this going? We are behind, we've got to do something. So we, through Missy, we came up with a fee schedule. She opened the doors with every vet clinic. So right now, Spay Neuter GI has every Grand Island veterinary clinic on board using the same fee schedule. We have an application process. We wanted to make it as easy as we could on the vet clinics. All we want them to do is we don't want to have them handle the papers. We have an application process. Someone comes to Voice for Companion Animals, they fill out the application. We have the criteria for assistance. At the top, a single income of $30,000 or combined income of $40,000 or less. Have a special financial burden, which job loss, we take into account some of that. Or 65 or older on a fixed income, they prove that they need this information. They prove the information, fill out the application. It comes to us. We have our team, our volunteers. We process the application within days. We contact the vet clinic. They're at the very bottom, who's your current veterinarian. If they do not have one, we go through the ones in Grand Island, one who is closest to, because sometimes transportation is an issue. So we go by which vet clinic are you closest to, which are in the end of town. Who do you have, if you have a relationship, we work with that vet clinic. We let them know so-and-so is going to be calling. They have been approved through Spay Neuter GI. Some ask for a copy of the app, some don't. They just write the name down. Hey, they then coordinate the day and the time for the patient Foundation, the owner. And they let us know when it's set up, they let us know it's done, they sent us a copy of the bill, we paid the vet clinic directly. All funds go directly to the vet clinic. So that is we're so excited. We are 1 year into this, 1 year into the program. We have, as of yesterday, when I ran all the numbers, we're up to 85 surgeries since September 1st of last year when we rolled it out. Worked all the little bugs out regarding what we were seeing, so we were able to knock out some issues. We have assisted with 52 cats, 33 dogs. We've invested more than $13,000 back into the community as far as $13,000 are paid to the vets, the vet clinics specifically. We have added not just the Grand Island veterinary clinics, we added Alda, and we added Ravenna. That allows us a little bit more flexibility when we, as we're doing today, come in and going, okay, we've got Grand Island, time to roll out Hawthorne. We want to grab Donovan, Carroll, Alda, and specifically Wood River. We know Wood River, there's a need. We've been listening and taking the calls we need to hit and get this going. Anticipating the growth, which we decided to do when we started it. We wanted 20,000. We started the program with 40,000. That allows us to grab some of the local residents doing their own tracking and return TNR, grabbing the feral cats. As you know, we have a big problem, and it's continued. You get into communities like Fremont, Beatrice, that have been doing their own, Lincoln, that have been doing their own. Sometimes now it's hard to even find kittens. There's a few kittens available for adoption. We just took in Grower 40 now. We have a problem here. So our little nonprofit, we have over 40 that we are working with. There's several foster homes. Our funds for our animals do not touch this money. This is for the community and specifically for State UGF. So what we're asking and coming today for is to reach out and go, we are ready to roll this out to the rest of the county. We've had tried and true, we know it works, we worked the bugs out, we have all the vets on board, everybody's happy with it, they are getting paid, and they're getting animals spayed and neutered, and we're also doing education. So doing away from the voucher system, make it easy. The last thing I'll throw out is, this matters a lot. It keeps vets at home. It helps unwanted litters. Reduces the shelter population. It helps family in a crisis that when we reach out and we speak to them about the program. And hopefully it saves taxpayer resources in the future that there's less animals going into the shelter itself. Another thing that we were talking about yesterday when we were going over some things is there are programs that are called like the Big Fix where they'll come into the community. Ravenna has one that's like a farm cat roundup in Central City. It's like a 1 day or a couple of days that they set aside to do farm cats kind of thing. That's a 1 day thing. We want to make it available when something hits. We want to make those funds there. We want to make it open. We want to make the vets available. So you can basically tell us, hey, I have a relationship with Dr. Riley at South Locust. He's on our list. You call Dr. Gloria, get set up. I'll let Gloria know that you're ready to go. She has your name. You do it. Gloria send me a bill and she'll let us know when it's over. Hopefully what is the last piece that I think is pretty awesome, besides having every vet on board, is you take some of these people that needed the education piece, and hopefully it allows them, if they reach out to Dr. Riley or South Locust or Dr. Lissy, then maybe that opens up a door with a veterinary relationship, that instead of just, hey, I've never seen one, I've done this. Now, that's going to help you and educate you, and hopefully you will then feel comfortable going back to that vet to continue the relationship. So that's why I'm here today. We're hoping we take our tried and true program. We already have the program in place. We already have the veterinary partners in place. We already have the application. We just are going to maybe change the name instead of Spay Neuter GI to Spay Neuter Hall County or Central Nebraska. So.
Jane?
I'm the Hall County Board Liaison for the Humane Society, and they did this for, I think, a couple years, 18 months maybe, on a grant. TNR, trapping and release with feral cats, and you are right, it is an issue. And we did a lot. Then the grant ran out, so we don't do it so much anymore. But have you looked into grant funding?
Oh, yeah. The TNR piece is such as you know, the TNR piece is such a different duck because you have so many different pockets of people. I mean, right now what comes to mind is Linda out at Bonner Park, who's spent thousands of dollars of her own money, seeing what she sees at Bonner Park. We want to be able to help her when it works for her. Doing a one-time thing and one-time grant, that's great. Big Fix is great. But some of the grants we're looking at, we went after the 20,000 and we did another 20,000. We have the potential of, I've got 2 more grants sitting on my desk to write. One is more dog specific, but that's still, like I said, the numbers here, we did 33 dogs on our program already. So that is making an impact. TNR and cats are a whole different thing. We do get the people that don't quite understand what TNR is and need an education piece because they want the person to come out, do the trapping, which, if you know, if you expect somebody else to do it, that means taking the trap, watching the trap, because you can't just leave it. We have come across some people not quite understanding that. You have to coordinate with the vet clinic that they are expecting it. You can't just, hey, call them that morning, I've got a cat, I'm bringing it in. Maybe you've got a great relationship with your vet and that's okay, but generally speaking, that's not a good idea. There's a lot of coordination on that. We have a lot of goals to do that. But yeah, we are researching like Alley Cat Allies, Maddie's Fund. There's a lot of grants out there, grant specific for TNR. We want to just start with the owned pets, but truth be told, are we running some of those that can handle their outside pets? I will tell you yes. We have the funding, we have 40,000. We are helping them as well. We just did a couple of 6 of them that they could handle the animals.
Pam?
So, our contribution, if we do this, does it preclude you from working on further grants? I mean, there isn't, you don't have,
No,
yeah.
we want this specific to be Hall County. We will still look for other grants to do Grand Island. The more we have available, the $10,000 we want specific to Hall County. We want to watch this 10,000. How many do we have? This is still a tried and true program, but we want to see how it helps Hall County specifically. So our spreadsheets are set up so that we can track, okay, this 10,000 goes here. We want it to hit River, Alda, Carroll, Don.
you know, yeah, I just know sometimes grant won't let you, they call it supplanting, I think,
Yeah.
is the deal. And so I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a crossover. I'm not against this at all. Yeah, my homeowners association just sent out a note asking people not to feed the feral cats. So you let them starve to death. I mean, you know, I mean, people.
Catch 'em, I'll take
that's-
'em.
Well, I'm not gonna be out there catching some cat that I don't know what kind of disease they have, sorry. I mean, they're cute to look at, but, I don't, you know, it is what it is. And I know that unfortunately, the other, property that, I own at this point, they had a feral cat situation and they just came in and destroyed them. And that's really sad. I mean, they let some of us know because I just couldn't be there. I mean, that is really sad. So what you're doing is a really, I mean, it's a gracious way to hopefully, in another generation of cats or so, kind of alleviate some of the issue, but yeah, it's a problem. I mean,
It's a problem that we see in education and TNR and low-cost spay neuter, however you want to say it, portable spay neuter. That is successful. We've seen it, like I said, Beatrice specifically, that you go in and they don't have very many cats and kittens. But they've had their program at the Beatrice Humane Society for several years since Carly's headed it up, so it works. It's just, Central Nebraska, time to do something. The calls we're getting, we get calls from Osceola, Fullerton, all the way out west past Ravenna. I can't even tell you the towns right here, city ones haven't called.
And Robin, this is a one-year request, and then you come back with statistics, correct?
With the
For now.
10,000, I think, depending on what we do, I have a 1 year. That is if we do hit our number of 50 to 60. But the 50 to 60, depending on how we hit it, there's a variation because dogs are more expensive. Average is $242 per spay, neuter, and $143 for cats. So depending on how this goes, it could go further. My inkling says it will be longer than a year, that it could be 2 years.
But for this request, they're asking for $10,000 for 1 year,
Yes.
and then you'll bring us statistics.
And then I can definitely bring you statistics.
Thank you.
Jane?
So just for clarification, this really isn't for feral cats. They have to be able to, that might be an outdoor cat, but they have to be able to
Yes, it's.
touch them, and they're kind of pet-like.
Community cats, because
Okay.
getting a feral cat is one that you can't even come close to touching, you lock
Right.
eyes and off they go.
Yeah.
Community cat is one that they can pick up, probably at some point somebody did own the cat.
Yeah.
We see so much of that, but those are the people that we are currently helping.
Okay.
If they can pick up the cat, put it in
Yeah,
a carrier and get it to the vet and send it back,
that's what this is. Okay, thank
Good
you.
clarification.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
And-
not us going out and trapping and doing.
Which is what the Humane Society does.
Yeah, we do not have a staff volunteers currently.
And what you're doing is a service that is not available through the Humane Society.
Not currently.
Okay. Gary?
I know, one of the food pantries I'm working with, they deliver to a house, and it's out by Boston's on East Highway 30, and it has at least 30 feral cats that's around the house. And, my understanding, they carry lice and other things, so,
It's not gonna fix this.
I think it's needed in Hall County, and I think we should go forward with it.
Well, this is not for feral cats. This is not for feral cats, though.
Not unless they can pick them.
You have to be able to pick them up, which the definition of feral is you cannot pick them up, and they,
If they can pick them up and get them in a carrier and work with whoever it is out of that, maybe the closest, I'm not sure, or something. If they can pick them up and get them there, we want to help them.
Yeah.
We're finding through the pet food pantry specifically, when we had the pet food pantry, we wanted to help anybody that qualified. In September, when we started this, we changed our pet food pantry to the point, and this was an eye-opener, I totally admit it. We made it a stipulation, if you were going to continue every month, not every so often. But we have some that you could pretty much set your calendar by that they were going to come every month and get food. When we rolled this out, we changed our Animals application, our pet food pantry application, to say, we have your application, this is what you say you have. We are requiring your animal to spay and neuter now. These are your pets. We are requiring, you are going to come here every single month to get food. We had an eye-opener as far as those people that didn't understand, don't have a relationship with a vet, or in one case in particular, I absolutely am not going to spay and neuter my pet. So then we sat down with an education and said, why not? Well, I want to get puppies. Okay, so you can then handle a mom and puppies, then you don't need the program.
yeah.
You don't need pet food. Well, yeah, then we need to have this discussion of, you are the pet's owner, you are protecting your pet, these are the expectations. By the way, does your pet have a rabies vaccine? Because that is state law. So that opens up. It took 2 months, and we have her now on the spay and neuter application, so she is getting that done. It's also helped us on the other side, were with Joe and Animal Co-op. So it helped us see some other things happening that were a great combination.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that. You definitely don't want to be giving free food to people that are feeding feral cats. But education is a huge, I had an issue in my district, really not that far from like where I live, where they opened up their basement. Opened up their basement to,
And I know who you're talking
okay, to these cats. It was,
Oh,
it was
my.
and it was part of
about.
her.
It was a sad.
It was a sad situation, and the husband would call and he wanted help, but it was kind of wrapped up with his wife's grieving process. And she wanted some of them taken, but not all of them. So, you know how that works. It doesn't. So there's a huge education piece to
There
this.
is, and unfortunately, in a case like that, we were involved to a point until it came to, we were ready to take and work with some of the kittens, and it became, no, I want to keep those. So we said, no, we just can't do that. We're volunteer driven, we cannot continue this discussion, so we had to walk away unfortunately.
Okay.
But yes, it was a grieving process.
Pam, anything else?
Yep, not to belabor this, because I'll end up making a motion to grant this, but I do want to say that, and in a sense, if this is an outdoor, I mean, as an example, you say the outdoor community cat deal. Okay, you can pick it up, whatever. But the cat's outside, the cat has kittens outside, the kittens are probably going to get wild. I mean, because they aren't going to have anybody handling them, loving them, whatever. In a sense, within a generation, you probably will prevent some, you're not going to do anything about the feral cats, but you're going to prevent more. And, I mean, we did that too. I mean, they were born, Johnson Lake. They're born under people's porches. The kids love them. They play with them, blah, blah, blah. We've got all these cute little kittens running around. We all got a bunch of dog carried and stuck them in there and took them to farmers. Thank you, Karen, who wanted them. So we did our own little deal. But, I mean, because they serve a purpose in a barn. With that, I'll make the motion that we grant the $10,000 for 1 year to, I'm looking for voice for companion animals from the Keno funds. That wasn't very fluid, but you get the gist.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Voting is open.
And thank you, Robin, for being here. Let us know
7
how it
yes
goes.
votes.
6
Motion
yes,
carried.
6 yes.
Or 6 yes. Sorry.
Okay, and now, do we need to make a motion to approve the entire Keno budget, or is that? Okay, all right,
We did all except this one and one of the.
okay, all right.
with the other one.
You're welcome, thank you.
Oh, yeah, but didn't we take it? Did we get it? Did we?
The ambulance
Yeah.
over Durban, we took care of that another way.
I thought we did. Okay,
Yeah, it's enough.
thank you, yeah.
Okay, Marty?
Thank you, Gary.
Morning.
Not much. It's okay.
The board want a chaplain update first?
Yes, we do.
Have you gotten anything on the chaplain reimbursement, Marty? You're just discussing it this morning. We knew you were talking to somebody about it.
Yeah, I spoke with Chief Denny, and he actually got the phone while I was there. They had authorized $8,000 to be reimbursed. And there was a misunderstanding. It's two people who have to authorize it, Chief Denny and John Rosenblum, and John hadn't. And since he has, so $8,000 should be on its way. We're going to authorize $4,000 to get caught up, and then I am on pause until we can talk a little further with respect to ongoing.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Appreciate it.
Well, as you know, we've had lengthy discussions about the presentation that you and your folks made the other day. We've also talked in terms of the big picture, where do we want to be as a county? We do have a proposal on the agenda for tomorrow's regular board meeting that we are going to institute a salary study countywide for understanding where salaries and job descriptions should be. I think I speak for the whole board. We certainly appreciate the presentation and your work, but at this point, it just doesn't seem that it is our position. We need to do the salary study before we can really make any changes. Now, countywide, all employees that are not affected by a union or that are department heads or deputies will receive a 3% cost of living increase plus steps, including all people that are at step 10 will get an additional step, so that all employees will get a 4.5% approximately increase in their salaries. And at this point, until we've got that salary study in place, I don't feel like, and I think the board feels that way, that we can make any other adjustments.
I didn't watch the board meeting. I couldn't figure out which of the 6 hours took place. Did the board take action and vote on the rejection of the proposal?
No,
No.
we did not.
Should that be a motion and a vote with respect to rejecting the proposal and asking you to come back with figures in line with what we would expect otherwise based on your guidance there?
I certainly could accept a motion to do that if, anybody else that wants to comment?
You know, when you presented the other day in the county attorney's office did, I heard that when the public defender took office, he raised everybody a step. Is that, or they raised everybody a step? Is that correct?
I don't think that's what we said.
Okay.
What I said
I think there was one position.
One position, okay.
As people are coming in to the public defender's office, they are slotting them wherever they're slotting them, and they are equating them to our folks with fewer years' experience.
Yes.
So how their budgeting went, I don't know specifically, but they proposed the budget based on the personnel that they had or were going to hire, and those budget figures were based on, I haven't seen them. It seems those budget figures were based on an appropriate elevation of their staff based on their experience. They started them higher than they probably should have, and this board approved those budgetary requests.
I think that's a possibility, Marty. I think those are some of the things that we will need to correct through the salary study. I think looking at individual situations, I looked at their overall budget. I think there were only 1 or 2 people that would have fallen into that category in the public defender's office as far as short-term people that have only been there a short period of time. But I think you have a valid observation there, but I think it's, again, something that we need to get into detail. I think one of the things that we found in doing research on the salary study that we want to look at is we need to take more factors into study than what we had historically done previously in salary studies. Our previous salary study compared our salaries to people out of state, which I think is totally inaccurate. And I've talked to the human resources individual at Sarpy County. They did the same thing, and she felt like it was really a mistake to do that. We need to look at job descriptions, requirements in terms of what the job requires in terms of education and experience, and then we also need to look at experience level of the people that are involved in those jobs, so that we don't compare somebody that has 2 years experience to somebody that has 8 or 10. And those are all things that we need to take into account when we do a salary study. And we need to be very definitive in terms of whoever we hire for a salary study, that those things are part of the information that we gather. Because I think some of it can be very inaccurate in terms of comparing we need to do an apples for apples comparison in terms of job description and not just in your department, but in all of our departments.
What I'll tell you is the county seems less nimble than I would like it to be with respect to recognizing people's really good and efficient work. And I think that you can have an array, you can have ranges that say, here are our ranges. But when we've given back the county two positions, one truly that we didn't expect, one that I thought might be the case. And we've got people who have been here a long time, and their efficiency, their abilities, their specialized knowledge, they're helping the attorneys protect the public. We don't do a good job as a county of rewarding those folks when we can. We have the ability, because I gave you a position back, we gave you this position back, I think there's an argument, I'll stand on it, that we can defend acknowledging these people's good work within our budget without a budgetary impact, negative budgetary impact in the county. And I'm frustrated that we as a county don't feel comfortable with that when we're comparing somebody else's office to somebody else's office, apples to apples. We can't do that with these people, because these people have been here for a long time, and because of their work, because of their knowledge, their expertise, their experience, and their efficiencies, they have excelled such that we have been able to give a position. And the fact that we can't acknowledge that as a county is discouraging.
Well, but to be fair, wasn't that the promise you made when we expended the money for the additional software that we went to, that was going to make us more efficient?
For the software, and you talked about that in the meeting, that's one position. I've given you two positions. The software, I said, I anticipate, I didn't promise, to be clear.
Yeah.
I didn't promise, but I thought,
Yeah.
I asserted that I thought there was a good likelihood that we would be able to give a position back eventually because of this. Because I added a position because of the cleanup in the software, and then I gave that position back fairly quickly. And I told you I thought we'd probably be able to give one another back based on the software's efficiency. I did say that, so that's fair. I could get two, but we can talk about one that I didn't anticipate. And that became possible because of these people's expertise and experience. And we're not rewarding that when I think we have an opportunity to do so. And again, I recognize that this is a government versus private sector tension that we all experience. But I stand here, I believe it's defensible, I believe I can stand in front. I'm on this recording to the public, and I'm a fiscal conservative, and I can argue this. I can defend this request comfortably to anybody who asks. So I recognize the board may disagree, and I know you have different pressures than you like, but I think this is a defensible request. And so I'd like to see the board vote to reject this and have us come back with whatever the board thinks, whether there's just a regular step plus 3% cost of living. We can then work the figures certainly, and if that be the will of the board, but I think that should be, because I brought you a proposal, I think the board has to reject the proposal.
And I was wondering if and when we get this salary study done, could we retro back to like this budget?
I don't think we can to this budget, but I think we can make the adjustment.
Because, I mean, it's gonna take us a while to get that salary study.
Oh, yeah, it's
And
going to be
if
next year's
folks
budget before we do
have
anything.
That amount of years behind them, it's gonna be hard to rehire anybody with those kind of years. I just would like to see if, I don't know if the board's flavor to retro that back to,
If we did that, Karen, we'd have to put it in the budget this year.
I know, but
Yeah,
I think
I-
we could do that.
Or not to relive the proposal. But when the figures were given to you in the packet, based on the two staff members that Marty has given back, to agree with or grant the proposal set forth, it still is not the same amount as if you hired a full-time staff person with or without single or family coverage. It's still underneath those two cost factors to reward and give these folks, the will to say, hey, I am worth it. They do appreciate that. It's not another kick down the road, period. Everybody's getting the same because everybody's the same. And I think that's kind of where the forms get.
Yeah. Anybody else have any comments? Do we want to try and make a motion as he requests?
I mean, I would love to see you all get rewarded, because I think you all deserve it. The risk would be, we reward you, then we do the salary survey, and now maybe you're a little ahead, what the salary survey says, but everybody else follows the salary survey. And then that upsets the apple cart, so to speak, with people saying, well, now it's still out of whack with the salary survey, because you're above it. So that's the risk.
To respond to that.
Yes, yes.
The salary survey will be based on your ranges and your steps. This is just an acknowledgement that these particular individuals sitting in these roles today are outside of that salary study. We are acknowledging the fact that we've given back the position. How many departments have given back two positions? One because of the efficiency of the software, I recognize that, and a second position. I think I'm the only department, I keep saying it's not me, it's these folks. I think we're the only department that has reduced their staff. And it's because of these individuals, not these slotted positions. So I think we hire somebody new on, Ms. Richardson, I think we hire them for the salary study, without something different. This is just an acknowledgement that this group of people who have 11, 10, 8, 6, we've got a lot of years of experience, and they've proven themselves by their efficiency. And I don't think we are necessarily going to disrupt the salary structure, because if I bring somebody new on, I'm not bringing them on at the rates that we experienced with all the years of service. They're coming in at relatively low rates, and I would expect the board to hold me to that. Step one, depending on some experience, maybe step two of what I'm going to suggest is criminal legal assistant. But it's not somebody that I'm going to have start at step 10 or step 9, acknowledging that we've got some really good folks right here, right now. Where I think this is a unique moment in time that the county board can act in such a way to show that when you highly perform such that you're saving the county a full-time position, you should acknowledge that. And that's why we proposed it, and that's why we're asking.
So I would reply, you're down how many attorneys?
3 right now.
Does that figure in this at all?
No.
Why? Why would that not figure in? People on the outside will say, well, they're down 3 attorneys.
Fewer attorneys to help out.
Exactly. Fewer attorneys to tend to, fewer attorneys to work for, et cetera, et cetera. What's the reply to that argument?
We have not reduced our caseload because we have been short attorneys. Our caseload, the public defender exits out of cases where they have 2. The public defender, they have a motion, what's the,
Motion to withdraw due to excessive caseload.
motion to withdraw due to excessive case. We had those discussions many times, ladies and gentlemen, when we were down 5 and at one point in time, 6 attorneys do an extended absence. We talked about, do we farm these DUIs out and get a local attorney to do all of our DUIs? Do we farm domestic assaults? So DUIs, domestic assaults are very prevalent in our day-to-day workload. Do we take those and do we just have somebody else do them? Do we withdraw due to excessive caseload? To my people's credit, my attorney's credit in particular, we decided we were going to continue to serve the citizens of Hall County. We did not charge cases because of it. So, as the attorneys continue to process these cases, the workload is still the same with respect to the assistance, to the legal assistance. We haven't reduced the cases that we deal with because we have been fewer attorneys. So, cases are still handled, even though each assistant is assisting fewer attorneys, they're still assisting the same amount of cases. And so their workload hasn't changed, the attorney's workload has increased per attorney per capita. And we're trying to, we're looking forward to a young man coming on, a recent graduate from law school is taking the bar exam tomorrow and Wednesday, I believe. Hopefully we can start on August 3rd and get him trained up, and by the time he gets his bar results back, and so then we'll be down to, and we're always looking, but the response is we just haven't processed fewer cases, so the legal assistants are still processing the same number of cases, even though fewer attorneys are the ones sending them out.
Okay.
Somebody's got to bite the bullet. I'm just going to say, somebody's got to bite the bullet. And here's the deal, guys. We all sit here and we're really feeling badly about disappointing you. And we're really feeling badly about disappointing Marty because we work so well and so closely with him. So the hesitation to make the motion, although we have discussed this extensively, comes really, really hard for us as well. I will tell you, however, that I personally, I can't say everyone, have had other departments already. News passes, news travels quickly. Some good, sometimes good, some not so good. And they're all saying, then me too. This is the way it's going to be. I don't have a position, I haven't had one because I wasn't able to fill it because you don't pay us enough. And so I'm operating a person down, and I have for almost a year because the people who will come to work for me that at this rate are blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm just telling you the salary study, and the inadequacies between the two departments, I can tell you, bad on me, I was unaware. I know that we had quite an argument, and this is one reason I really don't like the classification committee. It was established for a good purpose. But people go in, they want more money for their people because all the reasons you say, and they're valid. I want to retain my people because they know what they're doing and they're good at it. So they come in, write another job description, appeal to the classification committee. The classification committee, we're all just humans too. We listen to this, we understand, we realize, and like you said, Marty, you're right, this is government. It's not private dollars. I don't get to give you my money. I got to give you the people's money. It just is what it is. You've heard it all, I can say whatever. And I'm as sorry as anybody else, I'm shaking like everybody else. But I'm going to make the motion because you've asked for the motion. And the motion is to, county-wide, allow 3%, the step, which would mean an additional 4.5% to everyone, including the people on the step 10, to add one more step so that county-wide, everyone in the county would receive a 4.5% increase in their salary. Approximately.
Yeah.
And their salary structure for this year, with the promise whatever you want to call it. We allotted the money, $120,000, I think it was, something like that. 130? Okay. A lot of numbers, big numbers. To conduct a salary study and do this right. And so I've made the motion. I'm sorry I'm the one to make it. But it is what it is. Somebody's got to, like I said, bite the bullet, and I'm doing it.
Is there a second? Any further discussion?
Oh,
Voting is open.
it's just recovering.
Six yes votes, motion carried.
Will then come back with revised budget, how soon do you?
I would say you could work with Kim on that.
We have to have a preliminary budget filed with the clerk's office by the end of the month. So I need it as soon as I can get it.
We'll get more with Kim and get a revised
And
budget.
that includes the child support and juvenile.
Oh, I am sorry.
That's okay.
I forgot to hit this. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
I read, I spoke, 5 yes and 1 no. Karen voted no. I apologize for that.
That's okay. No, I just
forgot
wanted to, I was just uncomfortable and didn't hear the vote. So it was 1 to 5.
Yeah, it was 5 yes and 1 no, and 1 absent.
I think one of the other things that we could point out is that he has come to us with several requests over the last few years, and this is the first time we've ever denied his request.
The division chiefs and all of that restructure.
I just stated the facts. I just stated the facts. And really,
Well, there's no evidence that he's gonna lose him any more than somebody else in another department is too, you know?
But if he does,
He's all
that many
what?
short
When the roads department,
I thought we
come
did
in
too.
here, we didn't have to have a motion then. Why did we have to have one now? This was wrong.
well,
This
Well,
was
it doesn't
wrong.
matter, it's done.
It's done.
Let's move on.
I made the
What
motion.
else do we have?
I
Do we
built-
have anything else, Kayla, that we need to cover?
I mean,
Yes, I did.
there's nothing on
But
the
not the way you
agenda.
want.
Like I said, we've gone over, lots of shared,
I am the bad guy.
kind of the calculations and where they sit. I don't know what the board's desire is to do any of that time 2 minutes a day versus wait until August. Like Kim said, we're gonna submit a preliminary budget.
Well, when would the next potential meeting be?
I'm sorry, I was just
Yeah, that was my
recovering.
next
on the
question.
calendar for people about it.
You've got one scheduled, I think, for the 8th.
Fifth. It's a fifth.
Yeah,
That's the 5th.
Because the 8th is a Friday.
But we
No,
weren't,
Saturday.
historically, we haven't necessarily always had that meeting.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
So
But we
I
can
just
have
need to
it.
know so I can get them advertised.
But
I'll
as,
come.
but on the 5th, will we have the final numbers from the assessor's office, which is real?
Likely not. Those aren't due to you until August 20th, and it's generally
August
within a
20th.
couple days of that date, which there's a meeting scheduled for
So
like 23rd or 4th maybe.
we have a meeting scheduled for August 5th. That's that if necessary budget meeting. I don't feel like maybe we need that. We also have one that we typically add to the county board meeting on August 11th, which we could add discussion to that meeting.
Does that give us enough time to do the pink postcard thing?
So historically, you can see the schedule. So historically, those meetings on the 5th and the 11th, at least from my experience in this position, is that those have been to continue to basically make cuts, to make changes and to work towards getting you towards the allowable growth cut. You'll see that we have to provide the budget for the allowable growth, whatever criteria, whatever you want to say, by September 1st. So that's typed up there, even though it's not a meeting, the deadline is on there, September 1st.
And that is the point at which we have to determine whether we need a,
Whether you participate in that meeting and whether you get printed on the postcard. That's the date we have to submit the budget to decide. So we do have a meeting scheduled for August 25th to kind of, that way we know that the final valuation numbers will be in, and we can basically make the final decision of whether or not you'll be on that.
and we also have the 11th if we wanted to bring anything up budget-wise.
Right, I'm just saying, there's, to my knowledge, as it stands now, I know I will be corrected, that something will always come up, but as of now, I am not expecting any new information between today and August 20th. So if we don't, I mean, it's up to you guys, but if we don't want to keep discussing today, I'm not aware of any new information that would become relevant before the 5th or the 11th. So I would say it's up to you guys, either I would say either we need to discuss now, or if we don't want to make this decision now, it kind of seems like we wait until the 25th, unless some other new information pops up,
Well,
but
I was gonna bring back the information from Stuart.
that's true.
I
yeah,
did,
we'll have
I
Stuart
did text him, but we could do that quickly tomorrow. That's not a, we're gonna be here anyway, right?
Except it's not on the
It's not
agenda
on
for a
the
month.
agenda, and I can't get at it now, it's after 9 o'clock, sorry.
No.
It's
I
just
thought we had a,
information.
I thought we had a,
No, not tomorrow.
Tomorrow's just a regular board
Just
meeting.
regular board
oh,
meeting.
well, I'll do it
tomorrow.
on the committee meeting, how committee reports. At least I'll just let you know what's out there and then, you know, because maybe there's nothing to be done.
Yeah, and we can keep, if we want to make an adjustment for that, we can keep, you know, the 5th or the 11th potentially, but
I think, Marla, we could at least add it to August 11th's
Yeah,
agenda.
you could, yeah, if you wanted to do budget discussions, we can always add it on August
At the
11th.
end.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do that.
So, I mean, we've got that option.
If
Just
there's
let me
any-
know.
Cancel the
Yeah.
5th.
Cancel the 5th, yeah.
Well, thanks, Christine.
And I just need to know, because I'm not gonna advertise it and pay for advertising if we don't have to. So,
one of
and I need to do that today.
And
Oh,
also,
yeah.
if we decide we don't need the meeting, we don't need to advertise it, we don't need the
Oh,
meeting.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, that's why I'm asking, I wanna know today, so, because today would be when I would send in for the August 5th and the August 11th meetings.
So August 5th, is everybody okay that we do not have that meeting?
Okay.
Yeah.
August 5th, no meeting.
August 11th, if we need to put something on the agenda, we can do that and be part of the regular board meeting.
Regular.
Oh,
Regular,
okay,
regular.
Okay.
and if we need it, it's there, if not.
Okay, now can I ask one more question? Last year, we went to Grand Island Public School Gym for the joint public hearing. It didn't work.
Right here.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. We're gonna do it here in this building.
This is your
Oh,
fault.
Yes.
oh, yeah.
And that, it didn't work well last year.
It was very,
And is that just for you and?
it depends if we.
That's a pink postcard.
Pink postcard, it depends on what entities need it.
Yeah.
If we don't need it, we wouldn't have to be part of it, but it
You
was,
guys may want to decide where you're going to host me, because I don't think this is going to happen, but if every single entity has to participate,
Then next year is gonna be, interesting, because that statute says every entity has to participate.
correct, after this.
I,
But I'm not sure.
And they wonder why they're
if it
$900
has to-
million in
Yeah.
debt now,
yeah.
because they
Oh.
just keep coming up with
Yeah, I don't know
It's a
either, but
lot
I,
of work.
yeah, that's why I want to get it, and I
It-
wasn't able
for
to
that.
attend the
I'm
webinar.
sorry,
I
and
need to
it's
rewatch it
pointless.
on Friday, because I think the intent is still that a taxpayer can come to one meeting and see multiple of their entities, so I would think they want them together, but that's also going to be very hard to fit everybody in one.
not only that, not everybody is affected by every entity.
Right.
In other words,
Like the multiple schools.
yeah.
Right.
And in addition to that, I don't know that the new legislation addresses whether or not people can ask questions. Because basically what it is, it's a presentation, and that's it.
And no question answered.
And no
thing.
questions can be answered. So that,
So, and if we have to
it's
do, the-
pointless.
once we have to do the pink postcard, it doesn't really matter after that. Because we gotta, I mean, gonna get, you know, somebody's gonna be really mad at us no matter, so, if we show up. So my point is, we might as well save all of the, what do you call it? Authority we can. If we go to the pink postcard, we might as well save all the authority we can and try to make sure we got money to pay our people.
Have it not need it, and
Okay.
need it not.
And then
not be it,
we set the
Thank you.
levy on
Because,
Smartest thing you said all day today.
23rd.
because
Yeah,
our
the
road
25th
graders
is
ain't
when
getting any
we'll
newer.
basically fix it as far as the allowable growth pouches. That's the deadline. The first is the deadline that we have to report if we'll be a participant in the postcard meeting.
What did I
Could we,
have
from
on
the
September?
adjustments that we made with their budget, could we get updated information on the allowable growth and the levy,
Need from the attorney adjustments?
Yeah.
We can, yeah,
just so that we have that
Yeah, I can
information.
send that out to everybody.
Yeah.
yeah. But you're gonna basically be
Okay,
in the same, I mean, essentially, you're gonna be kind of in the same spot we are now, which is you're below allowable growth, or we can get below allowable growth pretty easily, and then, but then losing
Authority.
more than $1 million.
But does anybody else think it's silly that the evaluations from the assessor don't come till after we do the budget? Shouldn't it be just the opposite way around?
yes.
But
it
after
should
that's
be.
not- after it goes through all the,
But-
think of how much time you guys have spent on protests and all that, like, how do you move that up?
Well, and protests affect valuation.
Correct, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. You have to
Because
move
whatever-
that entire process up, and how do you do that?
It used to be earlier, it used to be in April, just nicer,
Well, I just
years ago.
think we still need to, we need to think about, once we get this, taking this,
It's got the total
put it-
tax.
it's not a
paid
big
over
amount of
to
money, but if we, I mean, it's gonna have a big effect, it's
And,
gonna have some effect, this money from the attorney's office.
I'll just figure
So
out how
we need
much
to
it has
know
been in increase on
how-
taxes.
Okay.
From my perspective, I need to know what we need to add back in and where we put it in order to preserve our budget authority, or our, yeah, is that it?
Yeah, the authority,
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
Is there anything else to be brought before the Board of Commissioners today? If not, we are adjourned.
Thank you.